Welcome back to the podcast, guys. My name is Finto. I'm going to bring the boys in now. I'll let them introduce themselves. Here we go. Gentlemen. Hello.
Hey,
what's going on?
What's up, guys?
Hello.
Do you know what I just realized? I've taken spot number 1.
No!
He totally did.
Terrible.
Wreck.
This is horrible.
Oh,
How you
dude.
doing, buddy? High five.
Oh, I don't like this at all.
Yeah.
The name change, bro. It shifted you to second place.
Oh, man.
No way.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome.
This feels actually really weird. I don't like it at all.
That-
I don't
just
like it
shook me.
at all.
That was one of those things I didn't think of, and then it hit me once. And I was like, "Oh,
I
dang!"
just couldn't believe I saw
I
myself.
thought about it all day.
I saw myself getting shoved into first place. I was like, "What's going on?" Got to show off a new T-shirt, guys. Look at that.
What do you got?
Ooh, that's clean.
What are those
I
colors
love
for?
that.
I don't
the
know.
colors
The
are-
colors are just there. I don't know what they're for.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
they just make because it's like a silhouette, and it's like the stealth suit, my favorite cap suit.
Yeah.
Yeah. If only there was like an American flag type thing they could have done behind it to
That would have,
represent the
yeah, that would have
hero
been.
that it was.
That definitely would have been better.
We got to make it international. It's just like Superman. He's no longer the American way.
Yeah,
You just need a mix of colors now.
Dang.
it's
I also think it'd be cool with a Hydra variant.
instead of that's America's ass, that's planet Earth's ass. How was everybody? How was your Friday? Drunky, how was your stream? Or sorry, Hoffman. That's gonna take me a while. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're treating it like a curse jar. Every time you say the wrong name, that's a gifted. So
Fuck. Okay.
There's one.
Yeah.
I'm one in.
Okay.
Stream was good so far. We were checking out Darkest Dungeon, but Alex was telling me I should bring it up in the very beginning. I played Guardians of the Galaxy, the video game, this week. And I'm not gonna talk about spoilers. I'm just gonna let everyone know, like, if you played Marvel's Avengers video game and you didn't like it, this is nothing like that. I had a lot of people ask me if it was anything like the Avengers. It's not. It's a completely different play style. It's actually a game that's not filled with bugs. It's gorgeous. It's one of my favorite games I've ever played. I feel like it does the Guardians better than the actual MCU did it. So if you're a fan of like the MCU Guardians, if you're a fan of the comic books, pick it up and play it. You're gonna do yourself a huge favor, man. It was an amazing game.
Yeah, you said game of the year and one of your favorite games. That's
Yep, 100%.
very high praise.
Oh yeah.
Now, big question for viewers out there that might be wondering: would you recommend PC play or console? What are your thoughts on that?
I would recommend probably console. I ran into a couple of bugs on the PC. So if you're someone that like bugs derail you as like your experience, I would probably pick it up on the console 100%. But if you're on PC, mouse and keyboard is like my preferred way to play any type of game. So I say PC if you're comfortable on that. But if those little bugs do, like, I had 2 crashes through my playthrough, but you know how it goes with PC gaming. Like, it's just part of the equation.
Yeah.
I'll just blame your computer for that, not even the game. Game of the year. Game of the year doesn't make mistakes.
No, I it's something I've been like really tossing around in my head. I don't know what to get. Like, I wanted to first let you play it just so I could see, like, because I think we're on the same like wavelength when it comes to a lot of games. So I was just waiting to get the yay or nay from you, and then I'm like, okay, now I need to just figure out, am I going to buy it on PS5 or am I going to get it on PC? I'm thinking the same. It looked, just from the gameplay that I saw, it does look like it's a kind of mouse and keyboard game, more so. Like, it seems like there's a lot of shooting in it rather than, it's not really a kind of duck and dodger, if that makes
Right.
sense. Which like Avengers is and Assassin's Creed is and all that sort of thing. And like for that type of gameplay, I prefer controller. So it seems like it's much more of a shooter. Am I right?
It is a shooter, but there is a really, really strong lock-on mechanic. Like, you basically just can't miss.
Oh, okay.
If you're using it. I didn't use it a lot just because, I'm on mouse and keyboard. I can just aim myself.
Yeah.
But they do have a very strong thing with that. I would say, like, there, when you play as Peter Quill, and you control the Guardians by selecting their abilities to use during the fight. And it's my guess that using a controller would be easier to do those abilities. I was doing a lot of like keyboard gymnastic to get a lot of those abilities off and to work, and so I think a controller would be easier for that. But
Okay.
I do enjoy the shooting aspect more than the mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, I'll say from the little I saw, they were very brave to not go with any movie likenesses at all for this game, voices or appearances really. and I think they really killed it. Like from what I've seen, the Peter Quill just is really really good. Like what you would want out of a Peter Quill, and like Hoffman said here, there's been multiple times in the game where mid-battle it felt like you were getting a lot of development between characters, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it's something I really haven't seen in gaming done that much, if at all. It's that like during the fight, characters have like their breakthrough moments that like define their characters and they grow, and they do it in the middle of a fight and like to help the team out and stuff. And it's just like this really cool moment that goes on a couple of times, and you really feel like they build a team together. Things that you would have to tell the Guardians to do early in the game, you don't have to tell them to do it anymore at the end of the game, because like you don't have to talk to each other. It's like you learn how to work together as a team. It's just really clever mechanics like that really build this overall experience that you just have to play, man. Like it was phenomenal. I loved it. Very touching.
And yeah, like it's a cop for me, like just from your review. And I think I asked you on day one, and you were saying like it's almost like a perfect game. So I was like, yeah, I'm in, I'm sold.
Yeah.
I kind of want to pick it up on PC just so I can like support a creator and give it a go on keyboard and mouse. But there's that thing in the back of my head just saying like I don't want the crashes. Like I had such a nightmare with Avengers. Like the Hawkeye DLC was the worst. Like it. Even like, you know, sometimes when the game will run perfectly on your rig, but your stream will be suffering, your stream will be lagging. Like, it was even struggling on my PC. Like, and I was just like, this is just ridiculous. And I remember that night so well. There was like the stream was hopping as well, so I didn't want to restart the stream or anything like that. I wanted to just keep it going, and the gameplay just suffered so much for it. Like, but it was just, I don't know, and that's kind of not what I want. You know, I want to experience it just full graphics on full bang, and I just let the capture card do all the work, you know. Yeah. So that's... Go ahead, sir.
Also, there's from what I saw at the after the credits, after Drunky finished or Hoffman finished. There goes another one.
It's gonna be a long night.
His run. Yeah, it's gonna take a minute. After Hoffman finished his game, I saw that there was a new game plus, and if you're looking to stream it, there is a streamer mode, in which case I get rid of all the DMCA related music.
Yeah. But
from what Hoffman was playing, it depends on how you feel. Like, can you go through the whole thing in streamer mode and then do it a second run by yourself just to enjoy like all the music, or do you want to enjoy all the music first? That's a really big decision that you got to make, but there is a new game plus. So if you're going to stream it for the first time ever, go for it. You could do streamer mode. If not, I would recommend just playing it by yourself, or just streaming it and then just deleting your bots.
So that's what you did, Drunky, right? You just went full whack, and you're like,
that's true for you. It. Boom.
Shit.
Yeah. You guys can always call me Brian if it's easier. It's Brian.
Listen,
or whatever's easier.
I'll never forget. I'll never remember any of them. I'm just
you're in the number one spot. Start acting like it, okay?
I know, bro. I'm fucking up. I'm fucking up here. Okay? I'm fucking up here. For anybody who may be just listening to the podcast, I've taken the number one spot in the webcams here, so that's just what we're talking about.
While we still have Hoffman, I know we have to get into the review here shortly, but the Hawkeye trailer, I don't know if you actually got around to seeing it today. Yeah. So we get a first reaction from him on that. He hasn't seen it yet.
Who hasn't seen it?
I haven't seen it either.
He hasn't seen the new Hawkeye trailer that came out today. Neither of them on the right side of the screen here.
Is this the trailer? It's like a 1 minute, like, and it starts like this Thanksgiving. I think they released it.
Yeah.
Was it yesterday?
Yeah. Okay. No, they released it today, 6 hours ago or so.
Oh, really? Because they put out a trailer like yesterday or the day before. So that's 2 trailers they put out in 3 days.
You might have just got it early. No. I saw it on YouTube like 6 hours ago.
I saw it on YouTube. I don't know. Well, look, one of you's throw it up on the screen there. We'll watch it and react to it now if you want.
Sure.
Alex, do the honors, brother. Get it
up. Want me to do the honors?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Get it up on YouTube and.
I thought Hoffman was picking it up.
Oh, whichever, whoever's first. Race, go.
Yeah, one day ago,
the event.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it. Maybe I'm just remembering seeing it at like 4 a.m. or you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, Anders, thank you for the resub, dude.
Yeah, you could share.
There we go.
Yeah, right. Y'all trying to get him to leak DMs.
I know, right?
Here we go.
Flooding my DMs.
Ready when you are.
Woo, spicy. All right.
Can I tell you a secret? I'm working with an Avenger.
Can I speak to your manager?
Hawkeye the Karen.
Didn't realize you were supposed to bring guns.
It's almost Christmas.
It's so Christmas. The Ren Fair.
Until I fix this.
Should we be worried?
I'll be home for Christmas. I promise.
No new footage yet.
Six parts.
Hell yeah.
Sorry, Santa. We're at a regular arrow.
Still no new footage.
Oh my god, trick arrows?
Stop just recutting the same shit and giving it to us again, you know?
Well, it's
Like-
because they already picked out the best parts of the series, and there's not better parts, so why would they make a trailer with other parts that aren't there?
There was literally not one frame of new content there.
No.
That's so silly,
was-
dude.
Well, a little bit. It felt like there were some extended scenes from what we've seen a little bit. Like they made it a little bit forward or backwards a little bit. Big takeaway though, 2 episodes they're launching with. That's huge.
So yeah,
Episodes Thanksgiving Day.
I was thinking about this, and I'm wondering, are they doing that on purpose so that the end of the show lines up with the release of Spider-Man? That's what I'm thinking.
Could be, yeah.
I think so, because I think if they put 2 on the 24th, I haven't really looked at a calendar, but I think it's going to end around the 17th when Spider-Man 3 is released. So I'd say maybe there could be something that might link it to Spider-Man, which would be fantastic.
I don't know if it was that trailer specifically, but I'm seeing like all those like old like 1990s cars, really boxy stuff, and like the New York Christmas time. I got a lot of Home Alone vibes from that, man.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Home Alone 2 vibes. Like I
I
don't
just
know
looked
why.
at the I just looked at the calendar. You actually are correct, Finto. They put 2 on the 24th. It lines them up that the finale happens the Thursday before
Oh,
Christmas.
nice.
How many episodes is it?
Thursday before
6
Christmas.
episodes. Yeah, 6 episodes.
Yeah, because I read
and
before
they
that
keep them on Thursdays.
there's going to be one episode of the show that directly links in with Spider-Man 3, and it's going to be the week that it's aired on Disney Plus. That's the same week that the movie comes out. So I would presume whatever we're kind of viewing in that show is going to just occur, and then kind of smack in the middle of the show, we're going to see him just kind of turn on a TV and see the report that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and he'll be like, oh shit, I know that guy, or something. You know, there'll be a little tiny kind of link to it, obviously, because they're in New York during this event. It's like, you know, it's got to be talked about. It'd be very cool if there was more than just kind of the news report like what we saw in Venom. It'd be cool if, you know, there was actually a proper like connection to it. That'd be amazing.
It's just like also I don't know, like I gotta go back and rewatch that end scene from Spider-Man. Was it Christmas time when he got revealed that he was the dude or whatever, the Spider-Man? Because I just can't remember that well.
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure actually. I just gotta say, quick thank you to Crazy Cookie Crumb sending a raid over to us. Absolute legend. Look at the chat.
Wonderful guy.
So I
funny.
don't know if you guys are aware of what happened, but Cookie came into my stream during the week and decided to gift a sub to the channel, but instead of gifting 1, he gifted 100. So we basically had to get in touch with Twitch and get the guy a refund, but basically Twitch did give the refund, but I'm still seeing the subs in my channel, so it looks like he's going to get his money back and I'm going to keep the subs, so it's a win-win.
Well, that's
It's a
nice.
loose for Jeff Bezos. Let's go, boys. Sticking it to the man.
Finally, someone putting Jeff
Jeff,
Bezos in
he's
his
got
place.
enough. He's got enough money, bro. He doesn't.
He's
need
been to
it.
space. Listen, he
Yeah,
doesn't need.
he doesn't. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need it.
He's almost been to space. All right, buddy, calm down. He hasn't been to space yet. He's been slightly above where the rest of us are.
Do it again, Cookie. I dare you. That's just playing with fire. Imagine. Are we gonna
Real
crack?
quick, Finto, can I ask
Yes.
you before I go?
Yeah.
Early reviews for Eternals not looking too good. They're
I-
sitting at 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. I know they're getting the review bomb to IMDb,
Yeah.
but on the critical score, they're like 60-ish%.
Yeah,
What's your
it's-
take on that?
It's the lowest rated Marvel movie ever.
Yeah.
It rates lower than Thor 2 and everything. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's getting. I heard that there's like reports of it getting like slated on IMDb due to the whole diversity thing and stuff, which is ridiculous in this day and age. But this is
It's
the world.
expected
This
from the incels.
this is the world we live in, unfortunately. But I'm very curious. I don't know if maybe because I've heard this before that the movie is very like diversive, and maybe it's a little too diversive. They might be maybe trying to throw it too much in people's faces, and people just aren't liking it. I don't know.
Well, I don't think the critics on Rotten Tomato would be like that, because on Rotten Tomato, all they got are people who've seen the movie and write for like big websites and big magazines and newspapers and stuff. And I don't think they would review on that criteria. Which if anyone would, it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I don't know. A lot of the things we're reading is that like the script is too ambitious in a bad way. They're trying to do too much. They're trying to get too much in, and like they're not really landing it. Everything just kind of feels weak because they're not building up. Like they're trying to build up too much, so everything's just kind of weak.
Yeah.
Can we make a bingo card for this?
What's crazy is that being said, what Hoffman just said there is it's got one of the longest. I think you mentioned last week, Vinto, doesn't have like the second longest runtime in all the MCU.
That would be
what Hoffman
expected.
said,
Though.
they have the second longest runtime, but they're still not getting it all in there. They're not getting the story across to you. So that makes me feel like maybe they should have just done an Eternals 1 and 2 and just did the first whole movie like a setup and had both movies planned. Like maybe short back-to-back releases.
We lost him.
Short back-to-back releases, like I was trying to say.
Yeah.
I think
I'm very excited to see it because I want to see if what these people are talking about is true. Like now I'm even more excited to see it than I was before.
Right.
Yeah, like it just that kind of you know what they say, any like publicity is good publicity, and even if a movie like this is tanking, I think a lot of people are still going to be like, ooh, let's see why, because Marvel is just so powerful now. Like they're just even I think their worst movie is still going to do well in the box office, and even with the whole like Corona situation and everything like that, like their movies are still pulling in like $400,000 or $400 million. Like so, it's they're still making money. So I think that the runtime of the movie is justified. They're building pretty much an entire new universe, a new storyline. They're way out in, like, obviously they're going to do a lot of like origin stuff, I would presume, with the Eternals. And then they're going to come to Earth, and they'll probably do a lot of like time jumping through like the history of Earth as well. So like there's a lot to tell. People are describing it as kind of like a Zack Snyder's Justice League style of movie making and stuff. So maybe that's why people aren't liking it. People don't like that style. They love to just shit on anything that's even related to Zack Snyder. So I don't know.
Oh, like that's not deserved. What the?
No.
Like he didn't earn that.
Anyway, I'm not going to talk about Snyder because Snyder is like, you either love him or you hate him. There's no in between.
Ever since you got to that number one spot, Finto, you're really up on your high horse,
I'm trying not to even look at the cameras, to be honest. I'm self-conscious about being number one now.
I said this to Kyle and Alex here in the pre-chat before we went live here, but I just want to say the Eternals, everything they're saying about this movie, I got receipts, baby. I'm gonna go pull these clips from like 6 months ago where I was like, this is way too much. Like they gotta explain all these characters, they gotta explain the deviants, they gotta explain them being on Earth, why they haven't done anything. Then they gotta build a villain. Like there's like no way they're gonna nail this. And I'm just so happy that we decided to do this podcast so that I can go back and be like, oh yeah. See,
I think your exact quote was like something like they have to explain 4,000 years of an absence or something. I think you said, and I was like, yeah, that's a long time.
Well, this is why I want to make a bingo card, because I was thinking, one of the squares is like, oh, well, that one didn't make sense long ago, stuff like that.
Yeah,
that would be insane.
I'd be very happy to leave that in your hands, Alex. You make the bingo cards.
I'll see if I can make it.
I think what I'm not gonna like is this is gonna be like a Captain Marvel scenario, and it's already starting because of all these idiot ass people on IMDb review bombing this without seeing it. Yeah. Is that people are the writers and the actors and the directors, they're gonna claim that people don't like this thing because it's too diverse, right? where a lot of them claimed that like we just didn't like Captain Marvel because it was just a female in the lead role and she wasn't smiling. Where it's like, no, none of that. Like, it's just take a step back, and I didn't like the story or the script, and that's what I'm feeling is going to happen with Eternals, where it's like, dude, like I just don't like the script. Like, believe me, it's just the script. Because I could care who they put in this thing and like how many of them they put in. Like, you couldn't make a movie too diverse for me if the story's actually good, if the script actually works.
Yeah.
And that's where I hope that Marvel takes a step back and it's like, hey, like we can be crazy, we can get a little weird, but like we got to make a good movie and deliver these good scripts and hire directors who actually know these characters. Because this has been the biggest theme for Phase 4 is hiring directors and showrunners who don't understand these characters, don't understand the MCU, and are just creating things to fit what they want, which is fine for a director. It's just like it's rough in the MCU.
It shows because everything we got up until Phase 4 was done so well by people that were fans of MCU, and that's why it felt like such a shift. Like when we were reviewing Loki, we're like, who's this Loki? This isn't my Loki.
Yeah.
Like, this dude was a badass 2 minutes ago, and now he needs a blanket to stay warm. Like, what?
I think
ahead,
I think a lot of the down points in regards to Loki and Captain Marvel, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like a lot of those two had something mixing as if it was like, remember who you are. Like every episode was a lot of like, remember who you are, remember what you're doing this for and whatnot. And you know, it didn't feel like it fit too well for Loki. And then Captain Marvel really pushed that. It's like, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And then finally you get, you know, I'm Captain Marvel. And then it's like, okay,
Carol.
I'm
Carol
not
Bas-
I'm not
She's not
Veers.
Carol
I'm
Danvers,
Carol
she's a Carol.
Danvers.
No, she's Carol Baskins. That's what I'm calling her.
Like, I'm really surprised that the movie isn't hitting well, because like if you just think about it, like they've got a star cast, great director, it's Marvel, you know, it's MCU, it's straight after Endgame, you know, everything on paper sounds like it's going to be a win, you know? So what I really worry about is just that the story is complete bullshit. It must be to get that sort of a rating. Now, I don't have any stats to pull this up on, but I know for a fact there's been plenty of movies that have come out that have absolutely bombed on Rotten Tomatoes, but then they like soar on IMDb once the regular people start going to see them. And to be honest, like, you know, and I try not to look into reviews, and when stuff like this happens, like what's happening right now with the movie on IMDb, like they should not be allowed. This movie should not be rateable until its official release on IMDb. Like that setting should be switched off on the movie right now, because you're getting all these fucking 20 IQ idiots coming in and just giving it a 0 or a 1 star and writing bullshit under the comments because they live in the 1950s. Like, you know, it's not fair. It's not fair to the movie. And I guarantee you what will happen. The second the movie comes out, it's going to shoot back up to like a 7.4, like a kind of average movie within the MCU. Now, could it potentially be better? I haven't looked at how many reviews there's been so far, but obviously all these negative reviews are going to skew the end result of what this movie will be. But I just think it's absolutely outrageous that an app would allow the general public to rate a film that's not even out yet. You know, I understand Rotten Tomatoes, they get people in. I think they get a lot of people in who are just film critics who might not be superhero fans, because this happens all the time. You know, you get people coming in, they'll give fucking Infinity War, which is, after watching it again last week for probably the 5th or 6th time, is easily top 3 in the MCU. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's just incredible from start to finish. I absolutely love it. I think Infinity War is better than Endgame, in my opinion. But there's still critics that would have gone to see that originally and probably given it a low score because it's not their kind of movie, you know? So that's why I don't really trust Rotten Tomatoes. I never listen to the Rotten Tomatoes score. Like, I think you can Google it, do it yourselves in your own time, but I think you can Google like the worst scores on Rotten Tomatoes, and some of them are hilarious. Like, they're incredible films, but they just rate really poorly on the app because the people who are reviewing them are just, it's not their kind of source material. It's not what they're interested in. So I don't take Rotten Tomatoes as gospel. is what I'm saying. So I need to see a movie for myself.
I definitely think the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes is a little weird and goofy because they can like decide, they can just write a terrible review, and you can read this in a couple of the comments for the ones Eternals already, but they're blasting it for a lot of the mistakes they made, but they're like still certified fresh. This is great. So I really don't understand it. And what I think they do better than IMDb though for like the user reviews, I think you have to like somehow prove that you actually went and saw the movie. You have to like, you know, submit like a receipt or a ticket or something. You have to submit something so you can put up a user review on Rotten Tomatoes, which is such a better system than IMDb. And they're like, you know, that's why they always, everything gets review bombed on IMDb so easily, which they do on Rotten Tomatoes also, but just not as easily. And it's a little bit more trustable.
Mm-hmm.
But this has actually got me like excited to go see the Eternals because like I really want to see because everyone says it's a little boring, and I'll be honest with you, when there's a lot of action going on screen in movies, that's usually when I fall asleep. So if something's a little bit slower and more like dialogue heavy, it might actually be for me, and like I'm there for that.
Well, I'm also there for that, and I'm just really hoping that it brings us in, and it's not just a simple monotone kind of voice telling us exactly what's going on or what happened in the past. I need just a little bit of enthusiasm here and there, or even just one of the people that's in the movie explaining things and showing the enthusiasm, and then maybe even being like, in terms of funny, being stopped in between, like, wait, I thought it was this that happened, you know, and, you know, make things simple and silly at times, but also give us some good information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just while you guys were talking there, I actually went on to IMDb just to see if I could see how many reviews it's had, and there's no kind of rating system, so I can't rate it myself. So it looks like they've actually switched it off. And I went into the Metascore here, and it's showing a Metascore of 55, I presume out of 100. And I'm looking at some of the reviews here, and it's like 80, 80, 75, 75, 70, 65, 63. From like USA Today, 60 from CNN, 60 from BBC. You know, all these, like IGN gave it 70, Total Film gave it 80. Screen Rant, who I would really vouch for. Like, I love all their articles. They're very, very good. They gave it an 80. So, you know, I don't know, man. Again, I don't like digging too much into this because, you know, the dude for Screen Rant who went to see it could be a giant Eternals fan. Or he's a massive Game of Thrones fan, and he just loves seeing the like Stark brothers back together, you know. So it's like, I can't trust what people say.
Could also be a very big fan of early access.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what I mean. So I don't trust anything. I'm gonna go see the film for myself and see what, see what's what. I think I'll enjoy it because I'm such a big Marvel fan. I just want new content. For me, the whole experience, the whole day of going out and getting nice food and sitting down with my girlfriend and just watching the movie like that in itself before the film even starts, I'm having fun, you know. So for me, I love going to see a brand new Marvel movie in the cinema. It's such a great day out. Like, so unless it would need to be an atrocious film for me to walk out with a negative opinion of it, like, you know. So I'm probably not the right person to be reviewing them because I'm kind of skewed in a way because I just love the MCU, you know.
Bro, I feel you so hard on that because every review I've said, like, it's worse than Thor: The Dark World. I'm like, that's a great movie. What are you guys talking about? Thor 2 is fantastic. All right?
I keep making this point, and this is I think it's true to the word. The MCU is so powerful, it's so strong that their worst movie is still a great movie. Like, if DC made The Dark World, it would be an absolute smash hit. Do you know what I mean? But for the MCU, the bar is set so high, and it's their own fault. They set the bar so high for themselves that even the worst movie in the list is still a good movie. I'm not saying Thor 2 is a bad movie. I enjoy watching it. It's fantastic, but it's not top tier MCU, if you get me. So that's why I'm like, even this movie.
Right, I'd have to hard disagree though. Like, it's just, I feel like it's the fan majority, you know, the standard fans, not the diehard ones, that are giving this review and making it seem like it's such a bad movie, and therefore it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy for all other fans. And because of like the herd mentality of it, they're gonna just immediately go in there thinking that it's gonna be a horrible movie. Even if they rewatch it and realize like it's not that bad, they might still have that feeling of like, but everyone else thinks it's bad, so I think I should just continue to say it's bad. As diehard fans, we see the positives and everything that's in that movie that actually makes it so wonderful. And it just and I don't see how it doesn't fall short.
I saw something very funny now that we're talking about that movie. Just real quick. At the start of the movie, you know, when Thor kills that rock giant or whatever. Some people are like, imagine that was Korg's father.
Oh, Korg's.
Not cool,
because he talks about how he was made an orphan, like, you know, and then it's like, turns out that Thor's the one.
That's so funny. Oh my god.
Could you imagine?
I hope that is what like he meant by that in the script. You know what I mean? Like when he made Korg, he knows it, but he won't tell anybody ever.
Yeah. Dude, that'd be so fun.
This is gonna be a short podcast for me here. I want to say goodbye to you guys before you guys jump into the other topics. But I'll miss you guys, and I'll see you next week
safe, sir.
for our reviews of the Eternal next week.
Next week's podcast is going to be a big one for anyone. For anyone who's not usually here, we're going to be reviewing Eternals on release day, so it'll be a spoiler-filled podcast. So I know a lot of people won't be on, but
Hoffman's bringing the receipts too. Bring them.
Yeah,
you better have them clipped and shit.
It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. Dude, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, everyone. You guys have a great day. Bye, everybody. Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Later,
Hoffman.
So yeah, I owe him 2 subs anyway.
I think I own what? 3? Oh, 2?
Nope, 2 and 2.
Yeah, I'll pay.
I made it. Yeah.
I'll pay them forward. Yeah. So do you want to jump into Infinity War? The first of our rewatches.
You're kind of already hitting on it a minute ago. I think it might be the best MCU movie currently out. It's better than Endgame in my opinion. The only thing for me, which is obviously this is just my situation, unfortunately for me back at the time, the snap got spoiled for me before I went and saw it.
Oh no.
But I can only imagine how much harder that would have hit had I not known at the end of it. And like that's like seeing that us get left with that would have been like, but I kind of knew that it was coming.
Yeah.
Because it, like I said, it got spoiled. But like solid 9 out of 10. Like,
yeah, for me, this movie, like, it's perfect in my opinion. I just love everything about it. I love the pace of it. I love all the action. The snap is just like the first time I saw the snap, it was just shocking to me because I didn't know anything about it. You know, it was kind of before I became really obsessed with the MCU and, you know, wanted to be obsessed with everything because I do a podcast and I like to have the most information as possible for people when they come in, you know. So like if we were doing the podcast back then, I'm sure I probably would have dug deep enough to know that it was going to happen. Whereas I was still I was a hardcore fan, but I wasn't as much of a kind of researcher of the MCU as I am now. So for me, that like surprise when the snap actually happened, because I genuinely thought that Thor was going to kill him when he came down and like stuck Stormbreaker into his chest. I was like, oh my god, they won. I was like, oh my god.
Envy.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, they won. And then I was like, you know, then it happened, the snap happened, and I was just in shock, like. And I'll never forget when the end scene happens and, you know, Thanos sits down and he just, as he always promised, he just takes a look out on the universe that's grateful for what he's done. And then the credits rolled, and I remember I looked at my girlfriend, and I was just like, oh my god, it just ended there. I was like, what the hell? Because I was on such a high, and I was like, no, it's over. I was like, no. I was like, more. Shit, yeah. I just wanted more. Yeah, it's just, it's so incredible. I just, like, you know, and even after now, when you watch it, and like, even like, knowing that, like, obviously Chadwick Boseman's passed, and when you see him turn to dust and all, it's like, shit, that hits so different right now, you know? And like, my all-time favorite part of the movie, and it's I was talking with Hoffman about this earlier, that one of my favorite moments in the entire MCU is where Steve Rogers tries to stop Thanos, you know, when he's like holding the gauntlet and he's just screaming, and I'm like, watching that scene genuinely makes me emotional, because I'm just like, Steve Rogers is the struggle, dude. He's the greatest hero of all time. Like, you're like, he's a normal enough dude in the presence of these people, like, you know, Wanda and Thanos and all these like proper like superheroes. Like, you know, he's just an enhanced human, but he's literally afraid of nothing, and he's like, I'm gonna stand up to this guy, I'm gonna try and stop him. And he's just, the acting out of Chris Evans there, like, it genuinely like stirs up emotions in me when I'm watching it. And even I sent a picture of it to Hoffman. I was about to say Drunky, to Hoffman, It's just, and I was like, dude, I think this should be the thumbnail for the episode because this is by far my favorite moment in the UFC, in the MCU. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm just like,
today.
stuff. But long week. But I'm like, this is my favorite moment in the entire MCU, and I'm like, I think this should be our thumbnail. And like, even sending him the picture, I was like getting emotional looking at it. I was like, oh man, like this is just, it's what makes Captain America for me like the greatest hero in the MCU. Like he's just,
it kind of hits that same vibe as like when you see the Spider-Man Homecoming, when you see him getting crushed by everything and he has that struggle. It has that same vibe when he's like underneath the rubble and you really feel like, wow, this is a kid just trapped in this situation. And
I
you
love
feel
that
the
too.
helplessness of it. Yeah, it's almost like a helpless struggle, and you just really relate to like all of us have been in situations in our life where we've kind of had that feeling, but to see it so with like the what's on the line set to the maximum is just what makes it hit that much harder.
Yeah, because like you really want your heroes to win, and to see him fail, it's so heartbreaking. And I think that's what really hits so hard at that moment where he was struggling. Although we wanted him to win, we knew that the struggle was real and that he wasn't gonna make it.
The one thing I always felt like the reason this to me isn't a 10 out of 10 is I felt like a couple of the stones were kind of rushed. Because like all that content right there, I would love like 30-minute scenes every stone.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
So to see a couple of them get like really quickly just acquired, the ones that he still needed after, it took him so long to get the ones that he has. And then in this one movie, he just very quickly acquires the rest of them. That kind of is where it loses that where it's not a perfect movie for me, because which I guess is kind of a good thing. But the only way to achieve that would be like a 4-hour runtime.
Mm-hmm. Although I do like the Reality Stone part in the movie where
it's brilliant.
Yeah, it was one of the most intense moments besides, the final fight, because, at that point they think that they won, but the reality was changed so that they didn't win. And they even had the Collector. He's like, magnificent.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's just so good.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, there's so many of those emotional moments, like Quill having to pull the trigger and then bubbles come out.
Oh, I hate
But
Quill.
like
I hate Quill so much. I hate him so much.
He still had to go through the emotional torment of making the choice or whatever, and then to still like lose on top of that. Like, there's so many moments there where it just hits so hard.
Yeah, like he was gonna do it. Like he literally pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
And Thanos still said, I am not giving you that moment.
I just love that he goes, I like him. And then they just disappear. Like I said, like that's the father's seal of approval. I like him.
Yeah. I like what they do to Drax, and I like the
he
slinky.
turns. Yeah. Mantis turns into like a slinky, and then
Drax is like
he just falls into like 50
box.
cubes or something.
Yeah, cubes.
Yeah.
So I have been recently reading the Infinity Gauntlet series.
Nice.
And that is a reference to Eros and Nebula. So what happens is Thanos.
Real quick, Eros, for anyone that doesn't know, is Thanos' brother. Eros. Yeah. A lot of people might not know him just because he's not in the movies.
That's true.
Remember the name?
Eros.
Eros. E-R-O-S.
Remember it.
Eros.
Remember it. It'll be important soon.
He might be showing up very soon.
Go ahead, sorry.
But yeah, so he already has all the Infinity Gems, because in the comics there are gems. He's using the Gauntlet. He brings Nebula back to life, and he summons Eros to the plane where he and Lady Death are sitting. And he just messes with them. You see them like being in Nebula's entwined, and Eros is just a bunch of cubes. And so when you mentioned that, I came to the realization that they totally referenced that in the comics.
Oh yeah,
it's so cool.
It's crazy. I kind of that's another thing that you just reminded me that I had forgot of that makes this not a perfect thing for me, is that motivation being taken out of the entire Infinity Gauntlet in-game series. His, like, in the comics, he's literally everything he is doing is just to try to get Death to even say one word to him. Mistress Death, Lady Death, she never even speaks to him. She never even acknowledges his existence. Like, she completely pretends like he doesn't exist, and he is so fully in love with her that he wants to do anything to show her, like, I'm worthy. Like, and everything he does, like, that we see a lot of the stuff in the movies, the whole snap, the purpose of the snap, not only does he say the balance of the world, but he really just wants to do something on such a scale that she can't not acknowledge it, and she doesn't. It's a really cool thing. They left it all out.
Yeah, it's truly amazing. And the funny thing about that is Thanos had died previously, and the reason why he was living during the Infinity Gauntlet series is because Death brought him back only for the purpose of destroying half of the entire universe, and having half the population of the universe available. So he decides to go get the gauntlet and get all the stones, and she is not impressed because that is not what she wanted. And it gets to a point where, like, I highly recommend the comics. Like, this is so good. It gets to a point where it seems like she's scared of him at this point because he now contains all of the power within his hand. And he is at this point so much stronger than her. And I think that's what I find the beauty of it, like in terms of the original story, is the fact that he literally was the Mad Titan. No matter how much she didn't acknowledge him, he still tried, because he had such an infatuation for her that he did everything in his power to try to get her to at least utter his name. It just never occurred. Now, when it comes to the movie, I still kind of get the motive. It's more of an upbringing. He was born into a society that was low on food and supplies, and wasn't very, like, was living in poverty. So coming to this point of, like, well, there's too many mouths to feed, and then half of his world gets destroyed, and then he's like, or he actually tells them that they need to get rid of half the population on that world. It drives him to the point where he needs to do that on a universal scale. And so I see the motive there. It just, I guess it just doesn't hit as hard as like just like trying to impress a woman, like on that sense. It's like, I'm trying to impress you, man. Like, just at least say my name at least once.
She's so cold. How do we feel about the Galactus theory? A coffee mug ask. What are we talking about? Galactus showing up for Eternals?
Is this the 10 rings thing? Maybe?
Yeah, I'm not sure which theory.
I know there's a Galactus theory at the end of Shang-Chi that the 10 rings are calling out to somebody, and they think that it could be Galactus. Maybe? I don't know. Yeah, we need a bit more info there.
I mean,
coffee mug, please.
It would be an interesting beacon if it was just calling Galactus.
Oh, that Galactus devoured Titan.
Oh.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Well, then the entire world would have been destroyed itself then.
Would have been turned.
He
would have just been eaten, right?
They go back.
Just disappeared.
Yeah, it would have just been straight up eaten.
Yeah. They end up actually fighting on Titan.
Yeah.
Or,
it's like destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
I mean, it could.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say it could have angered Galactus. Galactus could have been like, I wanted to eat that planet. Much like in the comics, he's like, Thanos is destroying planets. I wanted to eat those planets. I'm gonna bide my time because he's still stronger than me.
He just throws an elbow at the planet instead of eating it or something like.
Yeah, like he
causes
causes one of the planets to explode, and then Galactus is saying, like, I want to destroy Thanos. I want to get rid of him because he's destroying the planets that I'm about to eat.
But I can't.
Yeah, I'm hungry, but he too strong. He gonna take me down. So I gotta wait. And now that Thanos is gone in the MCU, there is room for Galactus.
So do you actually think that that Thanos with the gauntlet could stop Galactus?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Galactus
Thanos
is
with
afraid.
The gauntlet became
Wow.
as powerful as everyone except for the Beyonders, pretty much.
That's insane. So it's even more impressive that I suppose they don't really beat him, do they? Like when he's at full power, because in Endgame, obviously he doesn't have the stone.
Him. To beat him, you have to outsmart him, and that's what they in the comics. They pretty much even describe like he is like a Lex Luthor, inside of like Lex Luthor brain evil. Like he's 10 steps ahead of you at all times. That's why they try to show it a little bit in Endgame where he's like, how he, like as soon as he discovers they're kind of onto it, how he's already into action and how he very quickly discovers, oh, I must have already achieved these stones at some point.
Yeah.
And like in the comics, he's very much the same way where he's just like 10 steps ahead, and anyone that tries shit, he's just like, I thought of that. Like, no.
I never really kind of thought I was watching the movies this time, you know, with a magnifying glass, nearly like kind of taking in as much detail as I could, and I didn't really pick up when I've watched it the first couple of times on Thanos' actual intellect, because he just comes across as such a brute all the time, you know.
Yeah.
But like for him to get his hands on some Pym particles and then very quickly realize how to time travel is very impressive, and it's something that I didn't think about before. But yeah, like he gets Pym particles and then he's like, and then he just shows up in the future. Like it's fucking crazy, and ends up bringing like an army with him. So it's like, it's pretty insane, and like an absolute feat that he was able to actually do that so quickly. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, he's very much like that like I was saying before, that Lex Luthor brain where he's just gonna outsmart everyone.
My girlfriend in the chat, I can confirm he had the magnifying glass out. False. But yeah, like I don't know, like this movie for me is just incredible. Like it's just it's so good. And what I wouldn't mind asking of people who are watching in the chat who want to get maybe a little involved in the podcast for next week or maybe the week after, jot down your top 10 Marvel movies. I want to see what people's top 10s are and post them in our Discord under like the Marvel section or something, and like I'd be very curious to see how people actually rank the top 10. You can do the whole thing if you want, but at least rank the top 10. I'd love to see what people's top 10s are, because you know, like Zavin for example, like doesn't like Infinity War. I'm like,
he doesn't like any of them, actually.
No, well that's true. So, but yeah, like
he likes Deadpool, and that's where
Venom.
It's not.
I can only rank 2.
I don't even think. I don't even think he's gonna like the new Venom.
Review Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Flood, that's coming after we finish, because this is kind of the end of our timeline run nearly. It pretty much is, because after this we're getting into like the TV shows and stuff, which we've already done.
Well, after this, we need to do Spider-Man.
Yeah, but I think what we're gonna probably do is we're gonna do an entire rewatch of all of the Spider-Man movies in like order of their release. So we'll do the Toby trilogy, Andrew's 2 movies, Tom's 2 movies, and then we should be almost ready for the release of the new movie, which is gonna have all 3 of them in it. Let's not.
I'm really surprised that you don't. You know how they have like director's commentary on DVDs and stuff. I'm really surprised like Finto hasn't recorded Finto's commentary where he just watches the whole movie and like sits there and goes, yeah, so this is the first time I saw Toby, and I knew he was going to be my Spider. Here we have Toby trying on the like. I'm surprised that content's not out there, and maybe American Emily can tell us. Maybe that content
American
is
Emily.
out there. Maybe that content is out there, and it's not been like shared with us yet.
Here's an inside scoop. My girlfriend doesn't like the Toby movies. She doesn't like Toby, and I'm still with her, so that should just say everything.
But Pleasantville was so good.
No, she's not a fan.
She does have to do 10 laps around the house every time she mentions it. Yeah, go give me 10 laps. You don't disrespect Toby's name under my roof.
Toby 1 and 2 are like, and I've tried to do this before, like rank just the Spider-Man movies, but like Spider-Man 2, like the original Doc Ock one, like has to be the best Spider-Man movie. I think we can all agree on that, you know, pretty easily. And then I think like number 2 spot is quite hard. So is it Toby's first movie, or is it Andrew's first movie, or is it Homecoming? I kind of can't put second place, but like second and third are kind of. So I think it's like Toby, the first Andrew movie, and then the first Tom movie. No,
I say first Tom movie, number 1 for me.
Really, Homecoming is the best Spider-Man movie ever.
I think I thought we were just talking about like the intro movies for those 3. I think it's the best introduction to a Spider-Man. Yes, I think it was better than Tom's or Andrew's, and better than Toby's intro movies.
Yeah, well, it was definitely like very different, and I suppose if you think about it, Civil War is actually his like entrance into it. But
I will say Toby gave me one of
Also-
my favorite movie scenes of all time that I still to this day sometimes do it.
go Web, go!
I love that, dude. I love that scene.
Yeah, the bone saw lines alone, room cause theory, flood, you're dead right, sir. No, I absolutely love.
That
For
name
me,
sucks.
for me, it's definitely Spider-Man 2. And like even just like the movie's incredible. And I don't know if you guys remember, there was like a PlayStation 2 game that came out at the same time. And like it was just mind blowing at the time that you could like swing around New York as Spider-Man, and it was like following the movie. And oh, bro, it was just so good.
You climb like the Empire State Building and stuff.
Yeah, I would just jump off the top of the Empire State all the time, like, you know what I mean? Climb to the highest height and just jump off. Like, I could just do that 10 times a day, no problem. It was just incredible. But, like, yeah, I think after we watch all the movies again and we have a good talk about them, I'll do my definitive list. But I think it's Toby 2, Andrew 1, Toby 1, Homecoming, and then the rest of them, I just don't really care.
Toby suffers from the Game of Thrones curse, where like, yeah, all the content might have been really good before, but the final piece just left such a bad taste in my mouth that now when I think back to it, I'm just like, eh.
I did mention this to you guys the other day, or like maybe 2 podcasts ago, but I only rewatched the Toby movies myself. Just kind of had some free time, and I was like, I'll throw them on because they just all went up on Netflix here. And I watched Spider-Man 3, like the Toby one, and I gotta say, I was in tears of laughter. I loved it. I fucking loved it because now it's a meme.
Intention,
no, of course it wasn't. It definitely wasn't.
See, that's the thing.
It definitely wasn't.
If that was their intention, then that's great. But they didn't want you to be crying laughing. They thought they were putting out banger one-liners.
Yeah.
With if you know what I'm saying.
There's a couple of Toby interviews which you can find on YouTube. But you know, he was talking about Sam's direction, like Sam Raimi's direction in that film, and basically saying like, you know, that there was a much lighter tone to it, and then they kind of had their own story built, and then I think Sony came in and tried to change a lot, and it's kind of Raimi didn't get to make the movie he really wanted, and I think this is kind of something that seems to be happening a lot in just cinema, I suppose. Like, you know, final cuts are being messed with and stuff like that. Like, we know what happened with Star Wars and all these movies, Suicide Squad, Justice League, all these films.
Well, it's like in the music industry, man. Like you don't let your producer mix your music because they're gonna want to put the music louder than your voice.
True. So I don't know. Like, again, like there's just so much good stuff in Spider-Man 3. I love when he first gets the suit and stuff. It's fantastic. But now there's just such rewatch value to it because of all the memes and everything. The internet has turned it into a comedy, but in a good way. It's so bad now that it's good. Like the scene where he's like dancing in the club, the jazz club and stuff. It's so cringy to watch. But at the same time, I was in tears of laughter watching it. It was just so fucking good.
It's the Room of Spider-Man movies.
Toby trying to act bad is just like the most unintentional comedy ever.
Yeah,
it's good.
That people in the chat are talking about Venom. Like, you know, I hate these movies. I'm sorry, I hate them, and I've talked about this before. But like the whole Venom thing, Venom is like such an important character, like in the Spider-Man arc, that even from the get-go, I knew it wasn't going to be as good as it could be because they didn't have Spider-Man. You know what I mean? So even before you even watch one frame of that film, for me, it's already not going to be good because you can't follow the correct story. The movies are shit. They're terrible. I hate them. The new one was shocking. Me and Emma went to see it, and I think she turned to me like halfway through the movie just going, this is fucking dreadful. You know, it's awful. And I'm like, I know. I'm only here for the after credit scene. And not to break the superhero fucking streak that I have going. I've seen every single superhero movie in the cinema since like the first X-Men movie. Like
it just sucked. It just sucked because like it tried so hard to follow the normal like plot formula of, you know, you need a love interest, you need a motive to save that love interest. You need, you know, like we didn't need all. Yeah, we could have had this all just straight up like, you know, everyone's in a platonic friendship, like but we're fighting because we don't like each other kind of situation. You know?
Yeah.
just I'm gonna steal your girl and make you go fight me so that you could save her, and then I'm also gonna be angry at my girl and make it seem like our relationship isn't that great. It's so bad.
Yeah,
it's so bad.
The Flood makes a great point. When we try to think back to like superhero movies, that first X-Men movie release was like it all changed from there.
Well, you know the history, and this was only brought up recently because I think it was around the anniversary of the release of the movie, but around that time, around 97, 98, Marvel was almost out of business. They almost went bankrupt. And if it wasn't for the success of Blade 2, we wouldn't have the MCU today. Blade 2 is literally the reason why we have everything that we have today. So be
Blade
very
better.
I know, but Blade 2 did so well. It did so well in the box office that it literally made them able to make X-Men and Spider-Man and so on and go on from there. If Blade 2 was a flop in the box office, we wouldn't be talking about this shit today. It never would have happened.
So Triple H is pretty much the reason the MCU exists today. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm so happy about it as well.
Wait, is Ryan Reynolds for some reason?
That was he's in the third. He's in the third.
Oh, he's in the third one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I saw
dude, he's in everything.
I saw someone breaking
Which I'm happy
down.
about.
I saw someone breaking it down that apparently now, because of the multiverse opening up and confirmed that, like, you know, the Fox universe and Sony universe now all live in the multiverse, the MCU multiverse. Ryan Reynolds actually exists in the MCU like 4 times. Like there's 4 different Ryan Reynolds in the MCU.
They all need to meet in the next Deadpool movie.
100% that's going to happen. Like, you know you're going to see a scene where Deadpool like bumps into Ryan Reynolds or something like that. 100%.
Well, he killed himself in one of the Deadpool movies, so
I feel like he's
One of them's
not
gonna be
going to do
missing.
the next Deadpool movie until he gets Hugh Jackman.
I think Hugh Jackman will be in Multiverse of Madness.
Do you really?
Yes, 100%. Yes.
That's
I heard a rumor a long time ago that basically part of the movie is Strange kind of universe hopping, like multiverse hopping, and he's just like
he pops into an X-Men universe.
He pops into the Logan timeline of the actual Logan film, and apparently we're gonna see, like, it might only be for a minute, not much of an interaction, but apparently there's gonna be a scene with Jackman, and it's going to be around that time, so close to his death. But bro, like multiverse, we know Multiverse of Madness is going to be insane.
Do you have any more ideas on why you think they might have delayed just that one? And like, I still can't wrap my head around them separating Spider-Man from this movie so far away.
Benedict Cumberbatch said in an interview last week that the reason why they delayed it was due to reshoots. They're doing extensive reshoots of the film.
Doing them?
Well, they've started more. They've decided that they need to bring in more, and what they're doing is they're actually introducing a couple of new characters. So what I think is potentially happening
Are we getting
is
additional runtime then from this?
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say so. So what they're probably going to end up doing is they're going to maybe introduce somebody early that was due to show up later. So maybe it might be Doom, or it might be Reed Richards, or it could be the 616 Wolverine or something like that. I think that maybe they're going to get into the whole mutant thing a little earlier, or they might give us one of the Fantastic Four or something like that. I think they're trying to bring stuff forward quicker, because there's 3. I think they announced this week that there's 2 unnamed Marvel projects that are going to start production in 2023, and I think that they are going to be like the mutants and stuff like that, but I think they want to maybe give people a taste a little earlier, because if something goes into production in 2023, it's realistically not coming out till the end of 24 at the earliest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Squirrel Girl, I'm calling it.
Long time.
Squirrel Girl, oh god.
Squirrel Girl, calling it.
I think Hugh Jackman would do it as well. I'm really surprised that Hugh Jackman has not actually been on screen with Ryan Reynolds yet. I'm surprised they haven't actually put it together yet, because like the two of them are very close friends in real life. I really thought that
it'd be one of those moments that turns into like people clapping in the theater at this.
I would actually scream. I'd be so happy if the two of them shared like screen time in Multiverse of Madness or something like that. It would be incredible.
We're gonna get you in that Thor moment. Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
we've worked before.
I want
We're work buddies.
Is the original
want there to-
Fantastic Four MCU? Technically, yes. Technically, it all is. So, like, even like Wesley
Yeah.
Snipes' Blade is technically MCU now.
So Captain America is the Human Torch.
Well,
He's
here's another
dual.
here's another theory. So apparently, obviously, it's pretty well known that Chris Evans is going to return. Most likely, what he'll be returning for is the next Russo brother movie, which is going to be Secret Wars, most likely, which will end the multiverse. But what people are now saying is, imagine because I think he kind of has 2 projects or maybe 3 left in him, very small appearances as far as I know. But imagine if he did Multiverse of Madness, but it's him as Johnny Storm, not not Steve Rogers.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be insane, bro.
That would mindfuck so many people that
Exactly.
don't remember it.
Imagine he just
They'd be
pops
like,
up
"Wait,
on
what's
screen.
happening?"
Imagine he just pops up on screen. Flame on! It just like takes off into the sky or something. It'd be so good, bro. It'd be
Dude,
so good.
They need all that in Multiverse of Madness. We need Ryan Reynolds as the Green Lantern. Doesn't make sense, but we need it.
If anyone could do it, Ryan Reynolds could do it.
Again.
Oh my god.
And I want what I was gonna say before. I want Logan to see Ryan Reynolds in the Deadpool movie, but to see the shitty version of Deadpool again, not the good version of Deadpool that we like, the one with his mouth sewn. That'd be.
Yeah. I love the line that Reynolds says in Deadpool 1 where he's getting wheeled in to get his mutant gene activated, and he's like, please don't make the suit animated or green.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny, dude. He's such a legend.
I love how self-deprecating he is to his other things that he didn't realize were gonna be bad.
Yeah.
Can we add some of the Fox movies to our movie lineup?
Yeah. 100%. Like I
think
I love watching them all.
Yeah. I think the Deadpool movies would fit pretty well. It'd be fun to just talk about.
Well, like I think coming up to Deadpool 3, whenever that does get released, I would definitely like to do the first 2 again. And just if what I've heard about the script and the stories are true, it's still going to be hanging around the Endgame timeline, because apparently what happens in the movie is Deadpool thinks that he's the one who caused the snap when he went back in time to save his girlfriend. Yeah, he used the cable tech to save his girlfriend, and he thinks that he's the one who destroyed the universe. So the movie is about him trying to fix what he started, and then I think he maybe shows up at the end of Endgame to see everybody else already fixing it, and he's like, "Whew, what, that wasn't me. Thank God."
Clean up, and he just walks by "Oh, you guys got it?
Yeah, you got this. I'll show myself out. I'll see you soon," or something. There'd be so much fourth wall breaks and everything. Mm-hmm. Or hey, that guy sounds like Cable or something. Talking about Josh Brolin.
Do you think the X-Force continues on in the Deadpool movies, or do you think there was
an X-Force movie was scheduled. It was supposed to come out before Deadpool 3.
I remember,
but I don't know if that project got brought over to Marvel. I'm not too sure. This week there was a couple of projects announced with Sony for 2023. One of them might be that. Apparently Feige's going to be attached to these projects. So people are saying these are Sony properties, but they're definitely going to be Marvel movies if Feige's popping in to help out. He's got EP credits on them or something. So, yeah, I think X-Force could be one, Deadpool 3, Fantastic Four, X-Men, all this stuff. It's all possible. Well, sorry, obviously not Fantastic Four with Sony, but yeah, it could be any of the Sony properties or anything.
It'll help to have the main brain there for sure.
Oh yeah, the king of the castle,
the master himself.
Yeah. Oh, so.
But before we move forward, I don't mean to put too much pressure, but I would love to have the Flood if he can make it during the Tobey Maguire movies.
I have spoke to the Flood offline about this before. I have asked him to appear on the podcast. He has said we should hook it up, so it's gonna happen. We just need to figure out when. He's a very busy man.
Make sure he's at least one camera away from Hoffman. That we can't have them getting into it here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, yeah, I think we'll arrange a date, and if it is Toby, or I was thinking maybe something Star Wars related, he jumps in because I know he's a big Star Wars fan. So I was kind of
anything with David Harbour in it, since he acts in those movies as his stunt double.
True. So yeah, I'm absolutely open to it, and I think it'll happen. It'll happen. I have a clip of I have a clip of him saying that he will come on. So I kept that in the back pocket just in case.
Ooh, got my trump card here.
Yeah. But hey, we're gonna refer to the tape here. You did say you'd come
about Endgame. So what are your reasons why Endgame falls short? Like, what would have made Endgame surpass Infinity War for you? Is there anything that would have, or is Infinity War just too good? Or what about Endgame made it kind of...
I really like Endgame. I just don't think that the storyline hits as hard as the Infinity War storyline. Like, I love the beginning of Endgame. Tony lost in space, and, the 5-year jump, and, the world just kind of trying to move on. And, I love Cap scenes. They're brilliant. And, like, Natasha taking over the Avengers and stuff like that. But I don't know, like there's a lot of really, really great content in there, but I just don't think that the pacing hits as well as in Infinity War. And I don't know, like it's hard for me to explain why in my mind it's not as good, but there's just some of the time travel stuff which is amazing when you watch it the first time. Like, I loved when they went back to New York in 2012, and you know what I mean, you see all this different stuff. But I kind of think the whole time travel piece is maybe, I don't know if it's dragged out a little bit or something like that, but it's obviously it's an amazing movie.
For me, I feel like I almost got this vibe, like in Infinity War we see like all of our heroes almost at their best and then still lose. So when we catch up back with them on Endgame and we see them kind of in the dumps, through everything that's happened, my expectation by the end of Endgame was to see them return into best form again. But like little things like Thor still being dad bod Thor in the final fight, like stuff like that. Like, if we're gonna actually finally kill the big bad, I want to see us all in the most glorious, perfect form that we've been in, because we were in awesome form in Infinity War and we still lost. So I think that's, for me, what was missing in Endgame was like, yeah, of course we're going to be down in the dumps, we lost or whatever, but to see that transition to like pick ourselves back up, which they try to do, but it just doesn't feel like it hits as well. Like, it doesn't. I mean, the fight scenes at the end are good, but it's also one of those things where it's like they just want to show everybody for the sake of everybody, which hits, like you said, it feels like a lot of what this movie does hits good the first time, and then afterwards you're just kind of like,
yeah.
Whereas Infinity War just hits hard
for rewatchability, if that's a word, it's Endgame just doesn't slap as hard like the third, fourth time you watch it. Whereas for me, Infinity War is just paced better and there's just more action. It just makes more sense to me. Whereas but there's some of like the best scenes of those two movies, because I kind of think of those two movies as one. It's part one, part two. It's one film really. But for me, like, all my favorite scenes are in Infinity War, but like there's some absolutely incredible scenes in Endgame as well. Like nothing beats Steve getting the hammer. Nothing beats the very end scene just before they all come back. Like, Sam on your left, and just like before that scene, like Steve stands up. He's had the absolute shit kicked out of him. His shield is cut in half, but he stands up like broken man, tightens the shield, and you just see him looking out on a sea of aliens, and it's only him, and he's ready to go. He's gonna try and do it, and it just solidifies that Captain America is the greatest Avenger. Like, it's just, he is the leader, like, and it's just like, he's ready to take on an entire army himself. You know what I mean? And then obviously everyone comes in then, and it's a great scene. But for me,
the assemble doesn't hit as hard as I thought it would hit.
The which, sorry?
When he finally Avengers assemble?
Yeah, well, that's I was about to say, like, when everybody comes in, it's a cool scene when you first see it, but like, it's just nearly too much action. It's kind of like, it reminds me in a way of Star Wars Episode 2, where they have like the Colosseum scene where like there's like hundreds of Jedi fighting in the Colosseum, and you're kind of thinking like, this should be amazing on paper because it's like there's 150 Jedi fighting, and it's like, but it's too, there's too much. Yeah, there's just too much going on. So like, it's kind of hard to focus on the movie and enjoy it when there's just too much going on, you know. Like it's great to see
100%.
it's great to see some of the Avengers interacting for the first time, like Black Panther and Spider-Man and all this sort of thing, and like the Ant-Man and the Wasp and all that sort of thing. But like it just drives me crazy that Captain Marvel comes in and just flies through a spaceship, and you know, it's like, hey, I'm here, I'm gonna save the day. It's like I haven't been involved in this fight at all, but here I am to finish it. Like that shit just annoys me, you know. I want to
Yeah.
see I want to see these characters who have failed. I want to see their redemption arc, you know. And I just think that, you know, you bring in Superman, or you know, the Marvel equivalent of Superman just flies in and saves the day. Like it's just kind of fucking ridiculous. Like I don't think she had any business being in that film. You know what I mean? And I've heard it's lazy. It is. It's lazy writing. It's just like, you know, we'll get someone to fly in who can literally fly through ships and just blow stuff up and is invincible, and she comes in and just like tries to save the day.
She uses the same excuse every time we see her too. It's a big galaxy.
Yeah.
And this dude's been destroying half the galaxy. Shut up! I don't want to hear your excuses, Carol Baskins.
So, you know,
Yeah.
it's stuff like that for me that just hurts the film a little bit. A little bit. You know, it's still incredible, but yeah, I don't know. Like, and
It definitely hit on the utilization of all the characters. You know, as much as I'm raring to see all the main characters that we've seen so far, it would have been nice, in my opinion, to get additional shots of the other characters that we like to see, just in quick motions. You know, just seeing them, like not just in the background, but kind of pan over to them, show how much power they bring to this battle and how much they're ready for this war to end.
yeah.
And you know, because it didn't hit
Envision
it.
what you're saying, dude, and that hits hard. Like imagine like
Yeah.
one of those zoom in scenes where like you don't really know what you're supposed to be looking at, and each time you like pass a group of people, you're like, oh, that's this hero, and they're doing something cool, and then you
Yeah.
zoom past them and you realize, oh, that's them right there, and it could have kept zooming down the same battlefield like that. That would hit hard, but just to have
Yeah.
them all in that like that entrance scene, it just doesn't do it for me.
Right. Like we could have had part of the scene pan over to Howard the Duck's doing something because he's there, and we never see how he fights or how he interacts with like enemies and whatnot. And so it would have been fun to at least see something silly go on. I don't know exactly what Howard the Duck does because I've never really read Howard the Duck, but like, you know, stuff like that. It would have been fun to see like Hope. You know, I think Hope was with Scott during the fight, right?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they're together because you know when they go to the van,
He
and
comes out the little one.
they're trying to get the van started so they can move it and stuff, like because they
Yeah,
want to open
okay.
up the portal to try and get the stones back, but then Thanos
Yeah.
ends up destroying it. So yeah, like she's with Lang the whole time.
Yeah, she
Okay.
comes out a little portal, and I think he comes out giant, doesn't he? Am I true?
He is
Or-
giant.
Yeah,
He's
he
giant for a
becomes
bit of
giant
it.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but she flies him around.
And-
They both turn miniature, and she flies him around and stuff. So yeah, she's definitely there
Would-
for that fight.
Which, I mean, it would, like, you know, this is me just having like that crazy thought. You know, it would have been cool to have him tiny, and then like Janet just goes into the middle of the field and just throws him, and then he just becomes gigantic and body slams everyone.
Yeah, Stone Cold
love
Stunner
that.
is one of the big worms or something like that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
would have loved to see, you know, Hulk come out, and although his arm is screwed up, he's holding like a gigantic like launcher or like some sort of like Gatling gun, and he's
Yeah.
holding it like it's a little toy. He's just going off.
I'm
All right,
not.
the Hulk doesn't need guns.
I'm not sure if.
Okay, in the comics, he's had guns because he was Professor Hulk.
I'm not sure
He's
if I've
just holding
spoken.
massive stuff.
I'm not sure if
I'm
I've
sorry.
spoken about this on the podcast before, but have I talked to you about the whole theory of like who should have snapped? Have I talked about this before on the podcast?
Maybe.
Carol, right?
Huh?
Carol, right?
No. So basically, I heard a theory. Definitely not her. I heard a theory a while ago, and it made so much sense to me, and I think it kind of screwed with my head a little bit of how I view this film, because it just makes so much. This theory that a fan came up with just makes so much more sense to me than how they actually pulled off the film in the end. So basically, as we know, Banner is the one that clicks his fingers first, right? And he's the one who brings everybody back, and it nearly kills him. What a fan, and I'm not going to take any credit for this because I didn't come up with this, but what someone had said, and this resonates with me so much, but what someone had said to me was that it shouldn't have been Banner that clicked his fingers to bring everybody back. It should have been Thor, because Thor was the one who let the first snap happen in the first place. He made the mistake, right? So he should have been the one to snap his fingers. That would have brought everybody back, and that would have redeemed him. It would have fixed his fault, what actually made him go down this dark path of becoming like Fat Thor or whatever, you know? Then what that would have done, if that had happened, is that would have left Hulk at full strength during the final fight to have his redemption fight with Thanos, which is not a fully like powerful version of Thanos because he doesn't have any of the stones. So it would have been a better fight for Hulk, and he would have potentially maybe not won the fight, but he would have got some good licks in and maybe redeemed himself there, because obviously he loses the first fight in Infinity War because Thanos already has the Power Stone, right? So he gets fucked up by the Power Stone, basically. So what happened, like, it just then, as well, because Thor, in my opinion, is the strongest Avenger, all jokes aside, but I think the snap may not have affected him as badly as it affected Hulk, so he would have even still been available to fight at near full capacity in the final fight after clicking his fingers. So for me, I'm like, I don't know how they didn't do this, because it just, in the kind of poetry of storytelling, you know, the guy who makes the mistake is the one who gets the redemption. So it's like, I don't know how they didn't let Thor do the snap. Right. You know, like ever since I've heard this, I'm like, this makes so much sense to me. I wish that they did this, because it would have just been so much better. Like, could you imagine you have like 2014 Thanos, we'll call him, so Thanos from the past, no stones, just him in his like kind of warrior status, him coming up against Professor Hulk, and the two of them having a proper scrap.
Oh yeah,
it would have been amazing.
And it would definitely have been on equal grounding, because Professor Hulk doesn't necessarily have the strength of Savage Hulk. So they wouldn't be able to overpower him in the movie. They'd just be able to give him enough strength to at least go toe to toe with Thanos.
Yeah.
And so that way you don't overpower a character, you give them some screen time, and then you let them get hit a couple times, and then you have the rest of the team come in and do their thing.
Yeah. And you know, not taking anything away from Thanos, like even him with no stones is like almost impossible. Yeah, almost impossible for them to beat, because if you think about it, you've like and one of my favorite scenes in it is where they first approach him. It's like Captain, Tony, and Thor, like three of like the originals and three of the strongest, all go up against him, and they've got the hammer and Stormbreaker and Tony's tech, and the three of them get their asses handed to them by Thanos with no stones. So like, I don't think Hulk's gonna win this fight, but I think it's going to be a good scrap, and it just gives Banner that kind of redemption that he just so desperately needs.
Oh yeah.
My favorite thing about your theory too is Thor doing the snap could kill the dad bod too.
Imagine, yeah, boom,
just uses up all the calories.
He's like,
super heal.
He's like, I've been growing this dad bod for a reason. He snaps and he just absorbs all of it for him.
Do you know the scene just before they first approach Thanos, and like Thor walks out and he grabs the two hammers, or like Stormbreaker and the hammer, and like shoots the lightning, and he goes into costume and his beard's all done up like a Viking and everything. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's like one shot of lightning like groomed him. I'm like, it's so stupid. But I love it.
Oh man, that would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Another thing too is that it would have been a bigger spectacular moment as well, because if you think about it, Stormbreaker is not tied to whoever possesses this hammer. Like,
yeah, because
you know, if
Thanos grabs it and hits him with it at one point, like he nearly stabs him with it. So yeah.
So like, you know, they could, you know, Thor could still be fighting, but only using one arm because it's kind of screwed up. Throws it to Hulk, and Hulk like has it with two hands and is able to just swing it like it's nothing.
Oh, could you imagine Hulk with Stormbreaker just swinging it?
It would look like a fork in his fingers, and he'd be like jacked up in the normal KN.
He finds a car, breaks it in half like he did in the Incredible Hulk, and he uses that as a shield. And he has it.
Oh, amazing. So yeah, what do you guys think? Like, for you, is Infinity War a better movie? Is Endgame better 100%. For you? Infinity War is better.
Infinity War because of the rewatchability. Because again, it was like even it's one of those things that it's one of those movies that even though you know what's coming, it's still like you're still in the movie like rooting for them to win. Like, oh, we got this, and then the snap happens, and you're just like, we don't got this.
Do you know one thing?
Yeah.
One thing that I noticed when I was rewatching it was, you know, in What If, when Vision, I think Thanos goes to take the stone from Vision in What If, and he phases through. I'm just thinking, like, why didn't he just do this in the movie? Like, you know, it's just such a quick reflex from him, and he just phases through, and obviously he can't grab the stone out of his head. And I think it was memed a lot on the internet. It's like, why didn't he just do this in Infinity War?
They also memed the fact that they did the Ant-Man theory on the zombie episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They went inside, then exploded. Go in Thanos' butthole and explode him from the inside out, Ant-Man. Come on.
Yeah,
It's
that'd be
never
like
gonna happen,
that'd be
man.
like a Deadpool move. That'd be something Deadpool would do.
Yeah.
You know?
Can you imagine if Deadpool
this
had a
is
pin particle?
off MCU,
Yeah,
but
that's
I
exactly what he would do, isn't it? That's exactly what he would do. They'd all be doing like a fucking mission to go back in time, and fucking Wade Wilson would just literally be like, "Give me 5 minutes," and he'd literally fly up his ass and just turn the thing off and boom.
I need to
You
ask
see
a
chunks of purple
non-MCU
everywhere.
question.
Yeah.
Buzz Lightyear. Did you all both see that?
Oh, yeah.
trailer?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I know it's
loving
not
all the
MCU,
memes.
but it's got Chris Evans, who
I'm loving all the
is always
memes.
in our hearts.
Yeah, it's incredible. I
I'm
can't believe he
looking
has
forward-
hair. I can't believe he has hair. It's so funny.
Well, like he's only had the spacesuit on. Like
I
we
know,
never get
but
to see anything.
everyone just presumes because like it's so tight and it just looks like he has like a bald head. It doesn't look like any hair's hidden under there. I think
That
like
wasn't a shock to me.
that like everyone
this is him
everyone on
younger.
the
Really?
internet is talking
He
about
doesn't have
talking
a
about the
face
hair.
yet. This is him younger.
Like
Come on.
does nobody know about swim caps?
Yeah,
Like
I know.
that stuff.
I know.
That
It's
stuff
just-
literally keeps your head
People
down.
don't travel to space, and it really shows. I guess they're not accustomed to space travel like we are, Alex. Because I mean, we go to different planets all the time.
all the
Planet
time.
Hulk and stuff like that. It's just common space travel. Like obviously, you're gonna know that there's hair under there. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, well, Kyle and I are going to nowhere tomorrow, so
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like, I don't know, like I'll obviously go and like I'll probably just
Dude,
watch
the
that film
animation
on
looks
Disney or whatever.
crazy.
It looks incredible. It does. It looks great. It looks like a really fun movie. And like, is it like kind of confirmed that this is the story of the real Buzz Lightyear, or like what's the premise of the film? Like, you know, because obviously in Toy Story he's just a toy, but I think there's like a cartoon or something based on Buzz Lightyear or something like that. I think is referenced in one of the movies somewhere. I think there's like a show about Buzz Lightyear. So is this the show that we're watching now? You
yeah,
know?
I feel like this is the prelude to his toy line.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
this is going to be before the Toy Story.
So this is the movie or
movies.
the toy or this is like the content
This is
that
like-
makes him a
yeah.
toy. Yeah, I think
And-
it's very clever. It's very clever.
And if this hits, we're totally getting a Woody movie. Like
Yeah.
it's 100% down the line. Like if this hits, if this does well, we're getting a Woody movie.
They did that in one of the Toy Story movies, though. I think it was the second one, wasn't it? Like
With
Woody.
Jesby.
Yeah, his origin was like a 50s black and white cowboy TV show. So yeah, if you did a movie, like you could just would it be like a black and white thing or something? Like, you know, it'd be funny to think of it. I'd say it
It would be
probably
pretty funny.
should be, right? Yeah. That was one of my, because I know I like to kind of jot down a couple of pieces of news just to talk about when we kind of get towards the end of the podcast. But one of my first ones is Buzz Lightyear has hair. That was my first note.
I just like I don't understand how that's a big deal though.
I'm loving.
Like I really don't.
There's
I'm just
so
like,
many great memes. Hang on, I have them saved on my phone. Let me just post them on Discord and I'll pull them up here. Like some of them are just
To infinity.
so clever.
And to the hair salon.
yeah,
Okay. Now, if you can't beat them, join them. Is that what you're doing here, Alex?
Yeah, might as well.
A little case of grow up needs you all around everybody here.
let me just post some of this stuff in Discord here so I can put it up on the stream.
I should come on to the
For our beautiful viewers on YouTube. Sorry to anybody who's listening on Spotify. This next
I should
segment
come
is
onto
not
the
for
show
you.
with a swim cap and a beard guard.
Yeah. Hang on one
I'm not
second.
sorry to our Spotify listeners.
I don't
We
think
give
that-
them beautiful. We give them beautiful buttery voices every week.
I don't think
This
there's too many of them.
ASMR content. Oh, there's
Oh.
millions. Joe
They'll be
Rogan's
coming
actually
pretty soon.
he's fearing us,
He
taking
is.
over
He's,
his platform.
he's scared. He's scared. To be honest, and I don't know if you guys actually do, but I actually listen to the podcasts on Spotify sometimes. I throw them on in the car just because I like to kind of listen back on some of them, because there's some stuff that if I'm reading the chat, I might miss some stuff that you guys say. And I love listening back on it. But there's whatever Drunky does, he puts some audio filter on our voices, and we actually do genuinely sound so much better on Spotify. I'm not even just saying that for people to listen, but we genuinely
Whenever he does, like,
sound so much better.
And that's how you make it in
for
post.
you, too.
Yeah, exactly.
You said he who must not be named.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shit. Yeah. That's
Oh, yeah.
fuck.
Grow up.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's fine. I don't mind.
It might be like an EQ, an equalizer. I used to do an equalizer program that equaled out all the audio.
It's something he puts on his own videos when he's doing uploads for YouTube and stuff like that. So he's like, he put it on just for the podcast as well, and it's amazing. Check this out.
Yeah, bro.
Hell yeah. I love it.
I respect a fellow butt chin. That is like the rarest kind of butt chin, because that's just a butthole. Like, I have the other butt chin that's like butt cheeks. That is like the omega butt chin.
Yeah.
That has a butthole.
Like the dimple.
Yeah. Amazing. Love it. Love it.
He's
Yeah,
gonna take over Steve Rogers.
I like it though. Like it definitely looks great. I think it's gonna do really well in the box office, especially because so many people love Buzz Lightyear as much as Woody was like the main character, and although Buzz Lightyear was a secondary character, he was always the main character to me.
I was very worried that it wasn't going to be picked up very well, just due to the fact that they replaced Tim Allen. I genuinely thought that it was going to get a lot more backlash, but it's getting very well received. I just think everybody loves Chris Evans. But look at that. There's like the difference between the two suits in like the toy in Toy Story and him in this. Like, he looks amazing. Like, it looks really cool.
Yeah.
Somebody was saying in chat earlier that they might have used Unreal Engine.
Oh yeah.
It had to have been 5. It had to have been Unreal Engine 5 because this looks insane.
Looks so good. Yeah, it looks so good.
So in regards though to the voice differences and thinking that Tim Allen would show up on this movie, why would you think that? That's literally a toy. This is an actual person.
Yeah.
So like they're not going to have the same voice.
Well, if it was based on a kind of TV show or something like that, they could potentially have his like pre-recorded voice on it, if that makes sense. Like, when you like my little dude has like Buzz Lightyear toys and like Woody toys, and it has like the actual voices on them. So technically, it could be Tim Allen who did the voice of the actor who playing Buzz Lightyear on whatever it is.
Don't pawn it off on the young one. Those are your toys.
Yeah,
well,
never mind. Yeah.
Another explanation for that is that this is a very young Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah. So like voice changes or whatever throughout time.
Just like mine.
That adds up. Like, just I see it. It could work.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Do you want to move into other news?
Yeah. What? You got any other rumors or anything?
Let me see. I have. So I think Kyle, you might have sent this to me. I think, but this Empire article that they brought out about Spider-Man during the week. There was a couple of new images in the article, and they had kind of Peter being tied up by Doc Ock, and there was a couple of really cool images. But they also confirmed that Sandman and Lizard are going to be in the movie. Like, it's officially confirmed, but I suppose we saw loads of sand in the trailer, and
I can't take credit for that.
There's
I didn't send you that.
Oh, did you not? Okay, someone else did then. But there's
I'm looking at it now though. Ooh.
Yeah, there's some really cool images in there, and yeah, I think we all kind of knew it already, but I suppose now we've kind of got the comfort of knowing that it is officially confirmed. But it pretty much is. Zavin says we're his second most listened to podcast on Spotify. That's amazing, dude. Thank you so much.
Yeah, he listens to Toes. every Tuesday.
Nah.
It's his favorite.
Other Marvel news I heard was, so I think one of the 2023 projects has been confirmed to be Fantastic Four.
Which is great.
Yeah.
We need that.
Yes.
We need that as soon as
I'm looking
possible.
at that
Like,
confirmed right now. Fantastic Four, Blade, Deadpool 3, Captain America 4.
Yeah. So there's a project on their list that's labeled as secret project. And so some people, I was listening to Den of Nerds today, shout out to Josh, the legend. But basically he was saying that it wouldn't surprise us if the secret project is Secret Wars, and they're just like saying it's a secret project because it is a secret project, you know. So yeah,
or
that
even
would,
Secret Invasion.
well,
This
we
site
know
right here is saying there's
Invasion's
confirmed-
already confirmed.
Oh, right. Yeah,
They've
sorry.
confirmed. Listen to all these confirmed. Loki. These are a bunch that we know, but some of these I think might surprise you. Disney Plus series: Loki season 2, What If season 2, Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, Ironheart, Armor Wars, I Am Groot, Wakanda, and Echo.
Yeah, there's actually going to be two Wakanda shows. There's going to be like a Dora Milaje series and a series on Wakanda as well, which are actually separate series. Then as well, we've got like Daredevil stuff coming down the line, Punisher stuff, like so much stuff. There's a Thunderbolts movie just announced this week.
People are already guessing the title's either going to be Avengers Secret Wars or Avengers Game Over.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Secret Wars, to be honest.
I think it's going to be Secret Wars.
Yeah, like they bring everybody to like the battle world, and then you've got like Chris Evans comes back as Cap, and
No,
God.
let's bring him back as old Cap.
I want to bring him back
See what
as
he's got.
Hydra Cap.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh man, that would be insane.
That'd be so good. Imagine like Hydra Cap versus like Punisher and everything, because I think like you could bring in like so many kind of like street level heroes to all battle each other. Just be crazy.
I mean, I also want to see Hydra Cap versus U.S. Agent.
Yes, exactly. The
That
fight
would be insane.
if
The two like
or
dark
him
characters.
versus Sam for the Shield.
Ooh, yeah.
Bro, stop trying to get Sam's ass kicked. Chill.
I want to put him back in his lane, bro. That's all. No, I'm only joking. I love him. I love him.
Gonna be right in the junk.
I love him.
You're like, take the sky, Sam. We don't need you on the ground.
So, you mentioned Secret Invasion. So, bit of news on Secret Invasion. A Dublin actor named Killian Scott, right, has been hired for Secret Invasion. This makes me obviously very happy to see another Irishman in the MCU. It's incredible. But he's been hired as a character. So he's been cast as a character who is a evil Skrull for Secret Invasion. But the character, I can't remember the name of the character. Maybe one of you can Google this. But the character actually has links to Xavier in the comics.
Yeah, there are some scrolls that have ties to the X-Men, so I can't remember the name, but I know what you're talking about.
This Irish dude has been hired to play this Skrull, which will link to Xavier. So people are starting to freak out now a little bit that it's like, oh shit, Xavier's coming.
Yeah, and if they can get the Fantastic Four in before this, then they could probably put in the Super Scrolls.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I was listening to a Den of Nerds video today, and he was talking about Skrulls and stuff, and he was saying one of his biggest pet peeves with Captain Marvel was that the Skrulls that were in that movie were good guys. And it's kind of just common throughout the comic books that they're not good, they're evil, you know? So it's a bit of a spanner in the works. But yeah, I think I spoke earlier as well. There was 2 Feige projects apparently at Sony. I think I said that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, is he going to jump on Venom 3? Now that Venom is most likely going to be in No Way Home as well.
I mean, I would hope so, because like Toxin seems to be a go-to right now, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure who else would fit the page, but I mean, Toxin, like I would still love to see Toxin. I just think it's, this whole outcome of how they did it. It worked,
Alex,
but it was kind
I
of
just need to
goofy.
interject really quick with pss, 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 pss.
Sorry that.
For those listening, he's got a cat in his hand, and
I know, I see
you
it.
don't see
Yeah,
a cat without.
There we
giving him
are.
a little pss.
It's either I let him step all over the keyboard or I hold him.
Fair.
Or he's
fair.
probably gonna do both. When you let him down, he's gonna step all over the keyboard.
He's gonna try. Yeah. No. Yeah. He's already trying it. I'm gonna put him down.
You banish. Get banished. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm hoping that that's years away of Venom 3 with Toxin.
Do you think they're gonna make Toxin a bad guy?
Yeah. Well, didn't like Carnage and Venom have to team up to kill Toxin?
I think they had to subdue him, but I think Toxin. No. So Venom went to Toxin before, like he had the thoughts of just being an evil kind of symbiote, and taught Toxin to be a good person. And so Mulligan, being a cop, learns to teach Toxin to be to love humans, don't hurt them, like they're, you want to protect people. And so I think they team up against Carnage.
Okay. I thought maybe I saw that backwards.
Ooh, did I hear something?
I could be wrong.
I think I heard.
Like it.
Sorry, go ahead.
I could be wrong. It could be the other way around where, but I could have sworn that because Carnage is aware that the offspring of a symbiote is stronger than the original, that he is going to try to kill him, whereas Venom is going to try to save him. So, but because spoilers, because Carnage is dead.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Carnage does die in the comics at one point and comes back. It's just gonna yeah.
He only makes it like not even a whole movie. Yeah.
But it'll work out. They'll figure out some way to bring him back. Some people are probably pulling up pitchforks and signs saying "Bring Carnage back. We want Carnage."
So yeah, I actually think I heard something this week. So I don't really know too much about like the kind of deep history of the symbiotes and stuff like that. I haven't really read any like Venom comics or anything like that. So my knowledge is very kind of just off the old Spider-Man content and how he was originally introduced. Doesn't really go down further than that. But I heard that there's Venom at one point syncs up with Flash to become Agent Venom or something like that. Is that what he's called?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
everybody wears, like, it feels like almost everybody in the MCU wears Venom. It's almost like the Green Lantern ring. They almost give everybody like a panel of, here's what you would look like with the ring, here's what you would look like with the Venom suit. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so as far as I know, and I think this could be what's down the line for Venom 3, but I think we're going to get a Flash Thompson, and I hope it's not the MCU Flash Thompson, because I hate him. I'd prefer it to be a different. He's not Flash Thompson, like I think the other two Flashes were way better in Tobey and Andrew's films. They were just better Flashes. They just came across as big bullies, and that's kind of like what Flash is, like especially to Peter Parker. But yeah, I hear he becomes Agent Venom, and he ran as him for a while, but it was apparently some of the best Venom content was when he was synced with Flash. So that'd be something that could be very interesting if they do it right. But knowing how the rest of these Venom movies go, they're not going to do it right. So
right, but Agent Venom is, I would say, by far a fantastic way to actually make a good Venom movie, just because you can make the suit look so sleek and just have Flash look like such a badass. Because Agent Venom is so awesome. He's so cool looking.
yeah, I've seen pictures, like drawings from the comics, and he looks amazing. Yeah, he looks really cool, and I just would like to see a live action version of that done correctly. It'd be very entertaining. So yeah, I suppose time will tell. Little bit of Star Wars news. So I think we all knew it was confirmed that Hayden Christensen was going to be returning as Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. It was actually announced this week that he will also be appearing in the Ahsoka show as Anakin Skywalker. So people are saying
maybe he does a better job now that he's older.
Well, I think what's going to happen is that I think, Disney and stuff and Hayden himself have been so happy with what has been put together on Obi-Wan that he's doing more projects. So I think he's definitely doing Ahsoka now, but he actually could be doing more than this as well. So I'm down for it 1000%. Like, Anakin Skywalker is my favorite character in Star Wars, always has been.
What if they brought back the one that played Anakin in Episode 1 that got
the kid
bad into drugs when he got older?
Yeah.
What if they brought him back?
No, they could never do that to Hayden. Like,
Didn't he get bullied?
Yeah, he got bullied so bad for being Anakin that he got into drugs and had a terrible life.
It's so sad,
I
man.
feel sad.
So stupid, dude.
Yeah.
So
Dude,
stupid.
how does that make sense? Like, how?
Oh, you're a movie star. Yeah, you're a loser. Like, what? It's like, bro, I'm in
one of the best franchises of all time.
Chosen one. Did you not hear fucking Liam Neeson?
Exactly. I would be so proud to be in that film that there would be no kid that could say anything to me that would ever bring me down. Ever.
Yeah.
Imagine someone trying to make fun of you for being in a Star Wars movie. I'd be like, shut your mouth, you've been in nothing. Like, do you know what I mean?
That's what Andrew does if someone tries to talk shit about him being Spider-Man. Like, he's probably like, okay, fuck you mean? I was Spider-Man.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, I made $15 million playing the character that I've dreamt about since I was 3 years old. Yeah, boo. If I live such a shit life.
How many pod races have you won, fuckface? Like, get out of here.
Oh my god.
It's like not only did I meet Ewan McGregor, I met Liam Neeson, bro. Like, seriously.
Yeah, Liam Neeson is a legend.
And Ewan McGregor's a legend. Like, that dude, anything that he's been in, as far as I know, has been fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I don't really have any more Star Wars news other than that. Actually, there's a Nova show for MCU for Disney Plus.
Like a Nova Core?
No, Nova, the
hero
or whatever.
I think that would work, but I really think a Nova Core show should be in effect as well. That way we get a nice little backstory of who the Nova Corps are, because I did agree with Drunky. I think he was talking about it when he was doing his playthrough of Guardians. Woo! Oh, geez, that is yeah.
Let's go.
With when Hoffman was playing Guardians of the Galaxy, and he mentioned how the Nova Corps wasn't really represented in the movies of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2, and so
they were just
I think
a joke,
show
weren't they? They were just brought. They were there for comedic value. That was it.
Which is insane.
They're a big deal.
They're.
I mean,
huge
I
deal.
would say that they kind of utilize them when you think about how they have the ships that form the net. They utilize them towards the end in the battle, but it's still very that first Guardians movie, and then we don't really hear about them again. When it's we should be hearing about them every time, because these are the Nova Corps, galactic police. You know?
Yeah.
So.
I love the MCU to death, but they do make mistakes, and I think, a couple of the mistakes that they've made is trying to sometimes be too funny. There doesn't need to be as much comedy as there is in it sometimes, and I think this is a perfect example of that. And I think also what they did with Thor as well is another kind of example of where, he's an Asgardian god, but now he's gotten to a stage where every time he's on screen, except for when he's trying to kick the shit out of somebody, he's there for comedic value. And while it's enjoyable, I would still really like to see a serious Thor just kicking ass, all the time. So I don't know, the comedic value sometimes I think gets a little overplayed, and Guardians of the Galaxy was just full of comedy. It was a comedy movie through and through. But...
Yeah, that's how the design was for Guardians of the Galaxy, and so when the original design is that, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but I think when they don't reference the Nova Corps, except for a few kind of comedy skits, that kind of hurts. It kind of hurts the story more than getting those laughs in,
Right.
Yeah.
But then they kind of show off that Nova Corps is probably full of serious people, and so then you could potentially have a serious show.
True. Yeah.
But but then again, we do need Nova, for sure. But to also have Nova and the Nova Corps I don't know. I don't know how that plays out. Because is Nova part of the Nova Corps? Is that how he gets his name?
I honestly don't really know much about the history of Nova, personally.
I don't either, to be honest. And also, Finto, I totally agree with you because yes, that's what killing means.
He's so good in that movie. He's so good, dude.
I like Bill C. Riley in the Nova Corps. And he said, I quote, "I don't believe anyone's 100%. He goes, I can't even remember the quote. Fuck, I'll shut up. You fuck up a quote.
Bail.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do is sit there and just try to stumble through it and then be like, yeah, I got it at the end.
No,
just abort.
Just get out. Yeah,
you're gonna fuck it up. Just abort. You already look stupid for fucking it up. Just abort it then.
This podcast is forever, bro. There's gonna be thousands upon thousands of listens. Just get the fuck out. It's just bail.
bail.
Boats and hoes.
I just took a quick look. Nova is formerly part of the Nova Corps, so we could effectively see Nova being part of the Nova Corps and then eventually leave. You know, so that gives a good backstory to the Nova Corps, brings in Nova, and then we see him take off, and then we don't need to worry about Nova Corps until later when they're called upon again, you know, in reference or, you know, but then we'll be like, oh, well, I knew about that, and, you know. So, like, but as of right now, we don't necessarily have a show besides Loki where we've had an organization that's essential, because from what I remember, I think they did confirm, if I'm not mistaken, that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not canon.
No, Netflix.
I think they've gone back on that.
Was not canon.
I think they've gone back on that now. Yeah, I think they've gone back on that because I think Feige came out like years ago and said that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't canon, but now there's rumors that Quake could actually be coming into the MCU. So I think they have made it canon. And it doesn't make any sense that it's not canon because when the show originally came out, seasons 1 and 2 were completely tied to the MCU. Fucking Fury was in episode 2 of the show, and then the last episode of season 2 was them calling the Avengers to tell them that Loki's spear was in Sokovia, and that's how the second movie starts. So no, it's 100% canon. 100% sure. What's his name? Coulson is the leader of the team. I mean, he gets brought back after his death in Avengers 1. He's brought back with Kree blood and basically runs the entire team. So no, it is 100% canon.
Yeah.
Now the fans don't want it to be canon because it's terrible. But the fact of the matter is, it is canon, no matter what you say.
Yeah, and looking at all of the articles and whatnot, it's just back and forth. One of them says it's time to accept Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is MCU canon.
It is.
And one of them says, Clark Gregg says Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is still MCU canon.
It is.
So it's like, it's this whole back and forth. I mean,
just think about it logically. It is 100%.
Yeah, if logically, like, I haven't seen the series at all, but if logically none of that affects any of the timeline to a point where it doesn't make sense, like if it retcons things that would otherwise be in another movie, if it doesn't do any of that, then by all means you can make it canon because it doesn't affect anything else. If it only affects by reference, which is what you just mentioned about the staff, then that's totally fine. It works. It sits. But I do feel bad that, you know, I did read up on it, and Coulson gets just the worst out of it.
Yeah, he like the show started quite well, and when it was linking in directly with the movies, I thought it was very good. And I think even like if you rewatch season 1 of Daredevil were doing the same thing at that time as well. Like they were referencing the events of the Avengers movie, like the destruction of New York City, and Kingpin is in that show rebuilding New York as part of and there's the whole thing, you know, with the hand and all this stuff, and they're like trying to reap the profits of rebuilding New York and stuff. So even that show was, and they have retconned that show. They've said, like, we're keeping the actors, but we're doing a kind of soft reboot because they're technically different universe versions. Now they say a lot of the arcs will be the same. It's from a universe that is very similar, so they've had pretty much the same stories but with a little difference. Like I've heard a rumor that when Charlie Cox shows up, he'll have the yellow suit from the comics, not the red one, and it's just, again, a cool excuse to give him a different or new suit and do a better suit. So yeah, I don't know, like Shield is definitely canon. I'm sorry, it is, because like if you watch episode 2 of the show, like Fury comes in and it's after Avengers, and he's like, oh, you know, I think he references him coming back to life, and he's like, you know, we can't tell the Avengers that you're back, you know, because it's, you know, at the start of the forming of the Avengers, they were together to fight for Coulson, like, and then he, like, Fury gives him a Quinjet, and it's just like, you know, you take your team and go off and do your stuff, like, so it 100% is. Even during Winter Soldier was the last time that they stopped referencing the movies. But after the release of Winter Soldier, the next episode of the show was them in disarray because they just found out that Hydra had taken over Shield. So they broke away and started the new Shield, and Coulson became the director of Shield because they knew that that team that they had was the only actual surviving Shield agents that they could really trust to be Shield. So Shield actually forms again in that show, and he's the director.
Which makes sense because although we do have Sword forming in the midst of, you know, Hydra taking over,
Yeah.
Shield is still an available source.
Exactly.
So I mean, like if that's how it fits, then by all means.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say that if it is, like, you're saying it's definitely canon, I'm saying it's still ambiguous to me. But if it is completely canon, then this does fit the style of comics, because if you think about it, you know, a lot of characters just come back from the dead very often. So like to see them come back, yeah. So if they come back, then it's pretty cool. It's like a comic style like return.
Yeah, there's literally like 4 videos that I have on my watch list. That's like the death and return of Spider-Man, the death and return of Iron Man. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
it's like almost every hero went through a death and return.
Happens all the time.
Well, yeah. Well, Kyle, if you get the chance, you should read
He
the death of Doctor Strange.
Die. No.
It's happened. We're on issue 2 already, so
No.
The
it's gotta happen, buddy.
Sorcerer Supreme forever.
There's
And then Doom takes over.
There's, sure, I think, was it in DC Comics, they killed Barry Allen for like 30 years, and like for like 30 years, or I don't know what the exact time frame is, but like for many years in the comic books, Barry Allen is confirmed to be dead, and Wally West is the Flash, and Wally West had a run.
Hated Wally.
I love Wally myself, but that's just me. But Wally then basically, so then it turns out that Barry Allen comes back, like it could be like 10, like actual year, like our years, 10 years later he comes back, and it's like he's been lost in the Speed Force, but everybody thinks he's dead. Then Wally disappears, and he only came back. He disappeared years ago, and he only came back like maybe 2 or 3 years ago into the comics, and it was amazing. His return was incredible.
Flash and Reverse Flash, like Thane, that comic run and that story, they did a really good job doing that. Like season 1 of the Flash on the show. But that is such a mind blowing, like one of those things how like it all ties back into each other. And that I just recently listened to Comics Explained of that whole universe, how they did. I think they were talking about Infinite Crisis on Earth, and how that all got started. And it was, that stuff is so cool. It's like almost a paradox that doesn't make sense and makes you sit there and think about it for like hours.
Yeah. I truly believe that DC make better comic books than Marvel. Like their stories are just more like adult and just better. Like I think Marvel have like obviously better movies, and I think maybe they have some historically better stories in the comics that they've better turned into films than DC have. But like any of
DC's a little bit messier with continuity though.
Well, they
I think that's what makes them better, is that they're not being held to that same kind of like continuity that Marvel is trying to always have. DC's so okay with letting people, we've mentioned this in the past, letting people like do their own run on whatever comic, and and in the end, if it really, it's the fans that determine what becomes canon. Like what the fans demand the most is what they're like, yeah, all right, that's the way it is now, I guess.
Yeah, well, like even just taking just Batman, you know, at any one time, there's the main Batman story that goes on in the main like Prime universe, and then there's probably about 10 or 12 different multiversal like Batman stories that are going on, and then they'll even do some like 6 or 7 like issue runs where they'll tie it actually back to the main storyline. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Hmm.
Was Hellboy in comics ever?
Yes. I just don't remember what part of comics.
So I'm trying to figure out like what. I don't know. The Flood's got me thinking. There, he said he wants a new Spawn.
I think, what's your man's name? The creator of Spawn. Is it?
God, something McFarlane.
Yeah.
Something.
Is it Scott or Todd? Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane. Yeah.
You know, he came up like he created Venom as well.
Did he really?
Yeah, his story of creating Venom is like one of my favorite stories ever, and I'm very happy to tell you both of you right now, and anybody listening if they don't know the story. So Todd McFarlane got hired to draw on Spider-Man, and during his time on Spider-Man was during the period when Peter was in the black suit, and he created Venom because for selfish reasons he wanted to get Peter out of the black suit and into the original red and blue colors because he wanted to draw issues that he could do the original Spider-Man. So what he did was, to get him out of that black suit, was he created the symbiote and Venom and everything that we know.
How did he get the black suit in the first place then?
I think it was drawn originally, I think, in the comics or something. I can't remember. I don't think it was a symbiote, or maybe it was. I'm not too sure, but he basically created the character of Venom to get Peter out of the suit so that he could draw him in the red and blue.
Is he responsible for like all of the symbiote like canon then? Like all the background with like Null, I believe.
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know if his involvement goes that. I don't know if it goes that deep, you know. But
that what he started to kind of appease himself
blew up,
turned into its own.
Yeah, Jonah Jameson's son brings it back from the moon. I know that was what they did in the 90s cartoon and stuff, but I'm not sure if that's how he got the suit in the comic books as well. Maybe it probably is.
So I have an excerpt of how he gets it. So it was not until the 1984 Secret Wars that the black costume would debut. Having damaged his original costume in battle, Spider-Man discovers a machine thought to be a fabric replicator. The machine produces a black sphere, which then engulfs Peter in black goo, eventually forming his suit while augmenting his powers and abilities. The suit would later be revealed to be a symbiotic life form.
Yes.
Nice.
I did hear something about Secret Wars, but I thought that was in the later Secret Wars, maybe, where Miles comes back to the main universe and stuff like that. I wasn't sure which one, because there's like two different Secret Wars runs.
Yeah, and he still has the black suit during World War Hulk.
Nice. Yeah. So. Oh, nice.
So if they do Secret Wars, if they wanted to do this like in the comic way, you would do Secret Wars. He gets the black suit, or some way of like getting a black suit either beforehand or after. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. They do a World War Hulk, then they do the Secret Invasion TV show.
I think Secret Invasion will come first.
You think so?
Yeah. Okay. The Secret Wars movie, I think, is probably like 2026, which is it's awful, bro. It's so far away. But
I get it. They have to set it up, and if they do set it up, yeah, because we,
look how long it took us to get to Infinity War. It was 10 years, so
yeah. So this is why I'm pushing so hard into wanting to get Fantastic Four as soon as possible, is because we need Fantastic Four. We need villains that surround Fantastic Four, especially Doom. Doom is like one of the most important characters on Earth. Yeah. Like he actually, like during the Infinity Gauntlet series, he goes to Strange and asks Strange what the hell is going on. It's crazy. Like he like Strange, Doom is so upset at the fact that like half of his population just got wiped out by the snap that just like he goes to Strange.
Yeah. Oh, I was only listening back on some of our podcasts from last week, and I just love how passionately you were speaking about Doom and just how we should do it. Like their introduction of Doom first before the Fantastic Four, I just think is fantastic because I think we're all very tired, and I think the general public even more so are very tired of the kind of origins of Fantastic Four, because it's been done and it's been executed very poorly twice already. So I think the MCU need to go and do it a different way, and I think
they need to stop making Doom only tied to the Fantastic Four, because like Alex has said a lot, he's so much more than that. Like he's one of the most important supervillains.
Yeah, I think
he's incredibly smart.
A Doom solo project or a project where Doom appears as the villain before the Fantastic Four are even introduced, I think is a very clever way to do it. Because it just cements Doom in there as a threat himself, and then you bring in the Fantastic Four
and you make it like a dark
create a connection.
Movie, like the Joaquin Phoenix Joker type thing. Make an origin story like that type. Just dark Doom origin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who would you cast? And I don't know if I've asked you this before. Who would you cast as the 616 Norman Osborn? Because I think he's going to be in it. He's going to be coming into it very soon. And he's going to be playing a very important role, because I believe he's going to take over, or maybe he has been already in the background forming the Thunderbolts. And we now get a confirmation that there's going to be a Thunderbolts movie. Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston would be fantastic.
I think that'd be
great. What universe is Defoe?
Spidey, Toby's.
Okay,
like he's coming into the MCU, but he's not going to stay.
I guess you could call it the Sonyverse.
Because he's evil. Yeah, the Sonyverse. Yeah. Because he's like, I think what they're pitching is that he's not exactly a bad guy, or he's good when we first meet him, and then he turns evil. So I think if we got someone like Bryan Cranston to play the 616 version of him, you know, after the events of No Way Home, you know, Tom Holland's Peter Parker goes to look for the 616 Norman, and it turns out to be like Bryan Cranston or something. I think that would be fucking fire.
What do you think about that guy that played why am I blanking his name right now? Commissioner Gordon. We talked about him last week.
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. Yeah.
Ooh. Him as who?
As Norman.
Yeah. Like he could play. He's one of the best actors in Hollywood. He could play anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
His name was slipping my mind. Yeah, I think he'd be a good Norman.
Jason Isaacs. Will you pull him up for a second, Alex, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
Jason Isaacs.
I don't know.
I'd love to see
I don't know who he is.
I'm
I'm sure I'll know
got
his
a great
face.
eye for this stuff. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Bring it up.
Let me see if I can.
Let's let everyone see.
Let me see if I can pull him up a little. Open. New tab. There we go. And oh nope, that's.
Whoops, that's.
I almost screen shared. I almost screen shared ourselves screen sharing.
Yeah. I know this dude. Yeah, I just wasn't sure what his real name was. Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah. You know, I think if they continue with this and they have Norman Osborn, I really think that they should give Peter a few more years, let him get a little bit older, and then, you know, find Norman, or, you know, even run into Harry and then start a friendship with Harry.
Yeah.
And
proper
recently
villain face. You can see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he does Malfoy's dad really good in Harry Potter. Like Flood was saying there.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot this is him.
Yeah.
He looks so different with the big blonde wig.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like, I remember seeing a blooper with him and Daniel Radcliffe, and he was like, you know, you watch yourself, Potter, and he puts the staff to his face and accidentally hits him. And he's like, oh, sorry, love, sorry. He gets out of character for a second.
I like him as like a younger Norman, but for some reason, I always picture, I don't know. I picture Defoe just gave me this idea of Defoe's looked old forever. He's looked old forever, so I always think of Norman Osborn as older.
Yeah, I feel like with Defoe, his face, like no matter how many years it's been, even in his younger years, he still looked like he was, you know, in his getting close to his 70s.
The poor man. He doesn't look too bad in Toby 1. Like when you rewatch it, he looks young.
The way
I'm something of a young man myself.
Might be using this new Norman in the 616 with him setting up the Thunderbolts and everything. If they're gonna be using him for a long run, I think going with someone like this guy, being a little bit younger, would be, or you know, at least younger looking.
Yeah.
Would go really well going forward.
And I've been looking at. I
I
was
just has dramatic face creases.
He does.
Yeah.
He really does.
It really does.
I love his insane smile as well.
Yes.
Alex left the call by mistake.
Technical difficulties.
I remember my first time doing a podcast. Grow up, dude. It's okay. He's just left the call back.
And he's back. I had a good cast. I can't think of it now. Something popped into my head for Doom, and it just left my head now.
Do you guys remember Taylor Kish?
Yes.
So I was
Friday Night
thinking
Lights, baby.
Yeah, and he also plays as Gambit.
Gambit, yeah. He was actually a very good Gambit.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that dude.
I think
he was my favorite Gambit.
I think he would play a pretty strong character. I'm not sure if it would be Doom, but I think he would be a great Harry, like an older version of Harry.
I think just bring him back as Gambit. He was perfect as Gambit.
Yeah, I'd be down with Gambit. Yeah.
I'd let him be Gambit again all day. I thought he was brilliant.
It'd be so nice.
Isaacs was Hook in 2003's Peter Pan. I don't think I've ever seen that film.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
Oh my god, I had the perfect casting for Doom, and it's just fallen out of my head. Fuck.
I'm trying to think of what you might be thinking.
That's very annoying.
Yeah.
Christoph Waltz. What do you guys think about that?
Oh man, Christoph Waltz.
Kyle Crunk for Doom. I approve.
Let me see what he looks like now.
Not enough drywall.
The MCU doesn't have enough drywall.
I think Christoph Waltz could actually be a Reed Richards.
I'd like to see John Hamm appear somewhere. He's a great actor, and he's got just such a kind of like superhero face. Like maybe him as the Doom.
John Krasinski is Doom.
John Krasinski as Doom.
Like they
that
swap
would,
it off.
Yeah, that would fucking freak people out because everyone's like, he is definitely going to be Reed Richards. Imagine it's like, nope.
He's from a fucking Doom.
Yeah, I think they're doing I think they're going to be doing like a Black Reed Richards. I think that's what's coming.
And then boom, John's got the Doom job.
It makes put him in it. I think John Krasinski would be great in the MCU as something. You know, I don't know what, but he would definitely be in there. Mads,
I think he
Mads
needs
is
more
great.
bad guy type roles. He's always like the good guy, the dad, the hero, whatever. I want to see more bad guy John Krasinski roles. I want to see what he could do with that.
I'd like to see
some evil.
Mads Mikkelsen as Doom would be fine, but we had already had him as Caecilius.
Yeah.
No, I changed my mind. I want Rainn Wilson. I want Dwight Schrute as Doom.
Do Rainn Wilson as Doom and John Krasinski as Reed Richards.
Please.
Because it would make total sense because in the comics how Reed Richards makes fun of Doom and messes with him.
It would be so good.
The
guy that played
Jamie Lannister. Yeah, I think he belongs in there somewhere as well. We spoke about Mads actually on the podcast I think 2 weeks ago, and or it was when we were watching Doctor Strange, and it frustrates me so much that they underutilize that actor. Like he could have played Doom no problem.
He does such a good bad guy.
He's such a good bad guy, and I just think that they really wasted an opportunity for him in the MCU.
They should have made him they should have they should have had it written in a way that he could have reappeared.
I didn't like again, he's a phenomenal actor, he can do anything, but I just think that character that he plays in that movie, I don't want to see that character back. I want to see him play someone more significant in the MCU. That's I don't want him in the MCU just to be there. I want him to play like someone like Doom or something, like to be have a bigger impact on the universe. And not just to get the actor back in, like they should have just cast him better to begin with. And there's not too many times, you could count it on one hand the amount of times that Marvel have fucked up with a casting, but that's one of them for me. They really underutilized that actor. They could have done so much more with him.
So if they are doing World War Hulk, we need a Rick Jones. We need a Rick Jones and maybe a Doc Samson as well if possible. So Rick Jones is Bruce Banner's best friend. Like he saved Rick from the explosion, which then would have caused Hulk. So he's the whole reason why Hulk exists. And then Doc Samson is I believe he's a psychologist from whatever. I can't remember exactly what kind of therapy he does. But he also gets afflicted with the gamma radiation. He has his own super strength as well.
I don't really know too much about those characters, bro.
Yeah, same.
Anytime anything Hulk related comes up, I just shut up and just listen to your passion, and I love it. You could talk in my ear for an hour about the Hulk, and I'll just sit there with a smile on my face and say nothing. I just love it. Love it.
We should read some comics together under the moonlight.
Flood wants to know who would be a good Doc Samson.
A good Doc Samson. I mean, God, if The Rock had hair, I would say The Rock.
Anybody can have hair in Hollywood, bro. Just throw a wig on him.
That's true. Then the Rock, because Doc Samson is pretty strong in himself. And Hulk is definitely a crazy character. You need someone to be able to calm him down. I keep thinking of long-haired people, and all I'm thinking of is Danny Trejo now, because he's got long hair. You need to calm down, Hulk.
Jason Momoa. To be honest, I don't really want Jason Momoa in the MCU.
I'm over Jason Momoa, especially after
not
Dune.
really. Not really. I kind of think he needs to just stick to Aquaman and just let that be the only comic books that he has. I don't really like him. I definitely want Henry Cavill in the MCU somewhere. Either Hercules or Captain Britain or something like that.
I think there was something in the recent articles that I've read. I didn't save it, but there was this reference that was made, I think in Eternals. It could have been in Eternals or in some other MCU project. They're going to reference Superman. So Superman is going to be actually existing within the MCU. And I don't know if you've heard of this, but I do recall seeing something like that.
Ooh, Henry Cavill as Sentry. That's pretty. I kind of like that.
Mm.
Yeah, it looks like Eternals might be referring.
That was something I heard about, but I thought it was potential spoiler, so I've never mentioned it. I don't know if that's gonna be something.
It's all just speculation.
Yeah, but if that's true, then they could just totally do a crossover comic movie.
I think we're getting into the space now where there's going to be a lot of team ups like there is in the comics. There's going to be a lot of even Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that sort of style. But it would be Punisher and Daredevil, or Punisher and fucking Spider-Man or something
Mm-hmm.
I really think that's coming down the line. We're just going to be absolutely saturated in content. 33 projects. I keep saying this, they've got 33 projects in the pipeline for the next 5 years or something like that. That's insanity.
And Finto, I know you're excited about Punisher getting pushed further into the MCU, but I love how you're just trying to stick him everywhere. Punisher with Spider-Man, Punisher with
from what I've heard. Just from what I've heard, I Midnight Suns and his own show, and I wouldn't be surprised if he showed up in the Daredevil show, or at the Daredevil / Echo show. I just think kind of what they're doing with Charlie Cox. I think he's got 4 projects down already, and he hasn't even returned yet. I think they're going to do the same with John Bernthal as Punisher, because everyone loves him.
Yeah. So much so that Hoffman did the shout for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to make him bring the castle back when that happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
He'll hate it. He'll hate us. Him and the.
I'll just get him to start doing them on the podcast. Every time he comes in, he'll just have to do them. Yeah. I think I saw something there this week. Charlie Cox appeared at some comic convention, and some kid went up and brought up a Spider-Man and Daredevil comic book to him to sign it. And apparently he turns to the kid, signs the comic book, and just says, wonder will I show up in that movie? And kind of smiled at him and handed back the comic to him. It's coming. I think it's all but confirmed that he will be in the movie. Like, he shot a court scene, and he's obviously he's showing up in She-Hulk and his own show. And I bet you they do a Defenders on Disney Plus as well. They do the Defenders right.
Finto's 182. I totally forgot about that macro.
When I first started streaming, the reason why that's in there, when I first started streaming, everyone asked me my age, and it really pissed me off. I'm like, oh, what the fuck does my age matter? Like, I suppose it was because I was playing Fortnite, but every new person that came into the fucking stream straight away, like, hey, what age are you? Like, because I didn't have a webcam and it was just my voice, and they were all asking my age. So I was like, I just have to throw that up. That it comes up every like fucking hour, like once an hour, just to like, yeah, reference it there, buddy.
Just said you were 6.
Yeah,
6, and I have chest hair already.
This isn't. I'm not choosing this name to like pick a cast member, but I'm just asking you guys. I think Timothy Olyphant is a really good actor. I think it would be great to see him in the MCU. Where would you place him?
Who?
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be down with that.
I just
Timothy Olyphant
something about his face and his hair. I could just see him. I can just see him as Nightcrawler.
Oh man,
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Dude.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. Oh god, Feige, just hire me, bro. Stop pussyfooting around it. Just hire me, brother.
I kind of like to see him as Silver Surfer. But the thing about Silver Surfer is you kind of lose facial and
Yeah, it's just
and depending on how they can do
anyone
it.
could be Silver Surfer. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't matter.
Let's just throw The Rock in there.
Yeah,
He's already
why
got the
not?
look.
Stop throwing the rock in places.
I'm still saying
Silver
Galactus.
Surfer
Like, he's a
Rock,
powerfully
yeah.
hungry person. He has all the muscles. He's got to eat.
I want him to come in for Red Hulk.
Well, for what? Like just as him as Rolk?
Yeah. Kick
I'd-
out Ruffalo for that movie.
Have you seen how big his legs are right now in his training for Black Adam? His legs are terrifying. Like,
What part
muscles.
of him isn't terrifying?
No, but honestly, like, insane. Like, to the next level. Like, muscles on muscles.
Is Chris Hemsworth working on his legs, or is he just doing all upper body?
He does a lot of upper body.
Dips leg.
He's got very skinny legs.
We're gonna see some chicken legs. I can't
You're
wait.
gonna call Chris Hemsworth like that, man.
No, the guy is an absolute specimen, like, but he does not have big legs for someone as big as he is.
He's got
Spartan kick you.
I would invite it.
he's got two
check
ham
this out.
arms and two chicken legs. Gotcha.
Can you see this? Look at the size of these fucking legs. Oh shit. Look at those legs. Oh, I can't really zoom. It's not zooming in.
Oh, if
Look at those
if you need
fucking
to-
legs, bro. Oh my god. It's terrifying, dude. Like, he's juiced out of his mind. There's no two ways about it. Like, people can't look like this normally, but it's so impressive even still.
he's literally going ham.
Yeah. He's taken this so seriously. Like, apparently he's been trying to make this movie for 8 years.
And he's befitting of the role. Like, it's
Yeah.
like, for sure.
Yeah.
Also, Finto, just as a heads up, if you ever need to pull an image from like Google, right click it, and then you should be able to open the image in a new tab.
Does it? It doesn't go to the webpage. It just opens the image.
It just opens the
yeah,
image.
that's
That's
better,
how I
yeah.
do it.
Yeah. Just I don't like going to sites and getting pop-ups and all this stupid shit.
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah, it's the worst. It's the worst. Will Porter play Warlock? I was actually This Will Porter kid, I only kind of know him from like previous like comedy roles he's been in. I haven't seen him do anything serious. We've talked about this on previous podcasts, but there's a couple of like videos and like interviews coming out with him and what he looks like now. Like it looks like he's aged 10 years in the space of 2 years. And like everyone's like, oh, he's gotten the Marvel treatment and stuff like that. They've got him on good training programs and stuff like that. But he looks the part now. Like any kind of images of him that are going around the internet are pictures of him from like 5 years ago when he was like a teenager or whatever. But he looks incredible now. He looks ready. He looks ready for Marvel. It's insane.
Yeah, I think everybody just has that "We're the Millers" image of him stuck in their head, and it's like that kid. Like, no,
I'm gonna watch.
Then, like, you see him now, and you're like, oh, I can see this working.
He got a jaw implant. Is that actually real? Someone in the chat, he got a jaw implant. I'm gonna watch Maze Runner. People keep talking about Maze Runner, and I haven't seen it. I'm gonna make it my business to watch Maze Runner, just because I want,
very much,
just for him.
They were jumping on the Hunger Games kind of time frame. Yeah,
it's kind of why I didn't bother watching it, but I will watch it for him, just to do some research.
There's only 3 of them, I believe.
Just to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and that that's
can't believe he got a job.
That's a wonderful.
That's insane.
That's a wonderful thing too, though, man. Like I know that we're all kind of worried at the fact that we see this guy and we're like, we're the Millers, like really. And then, but if we take a look at his previous work and maybe see that he's actually been doing well, and he has good range, then we'll probably be a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
Finter said it time and time again. We can count on one hand the amount of times that they fucked up with casting. So it's very unlikely at this point that they're really going to screw over.
I don't think we start now. And I'll always go back to Heath Ledger being cast as the Joker. The internet were like, no, the guy from 10 Things I Hate About You, are you serious? What? Like, the whole world were like against him for that role, and then he just shut the world up in an hour. Like, insane. And even like, everyone give him like poor fucking Robert Pattinson a tough go over now because he's going to be Batman, and everyone's like, is he going to sparkle and everything? Like, people just on the internet being an idiots. Like, Hoffman has said this in the past, like, it's like he won't hold judgment on him. He thinks he's going to do an amazing job. And I would have kind of said before that, I think he's going to be a shit Batman, but now, like, after the whole Heath Ledger thing, I think that was a lesson everybody needed to take home. It was like, don't judge anybody before you see the performance. Like, these people are professionals. They're cast for reasons that we don't see. You know what I mean? And obviously, Robert Pattinson gave a great audition, and they've seen something on the cameras that we haven't seen yet.
And yeah,
amen, Flood, amen.
Definitely. Yeah, Robert Pattinson is a fantastic actor. As much as people have seen Twilight and they find it really weird, he wasn't really to be completely honest, I've seen those movies. He wasn't really the bad part of the movie.
No, Kristen Stewart. Or Kristen Stewart, whatever her name is. She was horrendous in those movies. Horrendous.
She was very it was too still-faced. It wasn't good enough acting with Robert Pattinson. But they made it work. It still made box office. So
yeah, big time. I've seen all those movies as well. Like, and some of them aren't actually the worst. Like, I love the whole vampire lore and stuff. So some of the aspects of the films are quite good. I loved that they kept, like, they've graduated high school like 100 times. Like, I just thought that was very funny. Like, they have all the gowns and caps on the walls in the house. Like, it's like that's what they would have to do. They're 17 forever, so they would have to keep moving around and graduating high school every couple of years. So, like, I thought that was very funny.
Oh, Flood, I haven't watched Lighthouse yet. I really need to watch it.
Yeah, I've heard he's very good in Lighthouse. Yeah, I that's on my list as well. I need to watch that. He plays a good Cedric Diggory. We were talking about Cedric last week as well, weren't we? Cedric came up. He's come up in multiple podcasts now. Poor Cedric. The goblet got him.
Oh, man.
The Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, I need to watch that. Guys, I think that's kind of it for the week, unless we have anything else we want to mention. We're about to hit 2.5 hours, so that's a nice time for the podcast.
Yeah, I think at this point we were just rambling.
We're rambling. I love it. I could stay here all night, but I kind of want to play some games as well while we're here. You know, while we're on Twitch, we should probably play some video games. You know. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for being here this week. Next week, we're going to be starting a little later next week because I'm going to see Eternals on the 5th. So I'll be like 2 hours late for the podcast, but we're going to start it later. So we'll be going live and probably around this time now, the podcast will start next week. And we'll be going straight in. Heavy spoilers for Eternals. So, yeah, it's going to be good. And we'll obviously have some news on all other bits from the week as well. Guys, if you're listening on Spotify, make sure you turn on the notifications, hit the follow button. And if you're watching us on YouTube as well, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Guys, it's been a pleasure. We'll chat to you next week.
Yep.
GG's. See you guys next week.
Love you, chaps.
It's been marvelous.
Later, boys.
Have a good one.
Bye.